You're watching the Yes Network, the home of champions.
All the requisite uniforms, and they're still selling Damon shirts, and they're still wearing them. Why? Because Johnny's back in town for the first time since Game 6 of the World Series last year, but he's coming in as a visitor. As tonight, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the defending world champion New York Yankees against the Detroit Tigers in the first game of a 4-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with Paul O'Neill and John Flaherty. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the Yankees just split 4 games in Kansas City. Yesterday was a tough one. They lose 1-0. In fact, over the last 10 games, the Yankees have really just broken even. 5-5 averages, average, 4 runs a game. They've hit 11 home runs. The ERA is good, but the Yankees lead Tampa Bay by 1 game and Boston by 6 games in the American League East. So, Paul, the question is, how does this play out?
Well, we knew coming into the year the American League East had probably the 3 best teams in baseball. Boston's been through some major injuries. Tampa Bay got off to a great start, but their pitching isn't going to go away. They're a good, solid team. The Yankees, in my mind, have played more consistent year-round to this date. That's why they're up by 1 game, but it's a close division. You haven't put away the Red Sox, so it's still a three-way division.
All right, so that's why this is an important series as well. Let's take a look at the pitching matchup, and it's brought to you by New York Lottery. Max Scherzer is going to go for the Tigers 7-9, 4.03. First time the Yankees have seen him. We'll tell you the significance of that later. Javier Vasquez for the Yankees, 9-8, 4.90. And the question, John, with Javi, as always, velocity. Where is it right now?
There's a lot of talk with Javier Vasquez that the velocity has dropped, and he has struggled over his last 3 starts. There was a time you could argue he was the best starting pitcher for the New York Yankees. Not lately. Velocity is not there. Because of that, you do not get away with the mistakes. You saw the fastball not very good. The curveball kind of rolls. And I think the most important part, you're starting to see some frustration from Javi Vasquez. Did not have a good outing his last time. He's looking to rebound tonight here in the Bronx.
Now, the Yankees have games this week, but they also have something even more important. They're going to help the community. They did it last year, a rousing success. It starts again tonight. We'll talk about it when we come back next on segment 2. Trying to win championships, but there are good things that are done off the baseball field. Last year was the first Hope Week the Yankees ever held. Now today starts the second Hope Week, and they can only hope that it's as successful as it was last year, where they help others persevere and excel. That's what hope means. Now, for more information, you can visit the community tab at Yankees.com. It's worth it. It's a great thing that this organization does. And one of the people that helps put it together is the Director of Media Relations, Jason Zillow, and he explains exactly what Hope Week is.
It's a monotonous baseball season. I think the Hope Week hopefully is, it's that pinch on the forearm for a lot of us where, we get out of the day-to-day grind. And, to be honest with you, it's kind of, reaffirms that we're living a little bit. Yeah. And it's not just show up in the clubhouse and do the routine that we've been doing from February up until this date. And on the side, I mean, it's hard to quantify, but I'm sure there's no downside to our guys going out into an environment that they're not used to and kind of sharing that experience with each other, not just with the person that we're honoring.
Good stuff, and we'll be reporting on it all week. Johnny Damon is back in town, and the Yankees are back, too, after a road trip. Big stars out for two big teams, Yankees and the Tigers. Lineups, first pitch baseball coming up next on Yes. By the 2010 Honda Clearance. It's the only thing from Honda that won't last. By Avis, the official rental car company of the New York Yankees. And by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. Please drink responsibly. Crowd still filing in the Yankee Stadium on this Monday evening in August. The Yankees have taken the field, and Javier Vasquez is taking his warm-ups. Why don't we take a look at the Tigers starting lineup that's going to face the Yankees veteran right-hander. The lineup is presented by Lexus. Former Yankee farmhand Austin Jackson leads off and plays center field. Former Yankee, the DH, Johnny Damon, will bat second. Batting third and playing right field, Brennan Bosch. Miguel Cabrera at first base will clean up. Batting fifth and playing second base, Carlos Guillen. Ryan Rayburn in left field will bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing third base, Brandon Inge. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, is going to bat eighth. Batting ninth and catching, Alex Avila.
The Detroit Tigers going to go to work against Javier Vasquez tonight. Take a look at his numbers on the year. 9-8, a 4.90, 114 hits in 123 innings. Take a look at a little pitcher scouting report. He's going through a little slow stretch. His last three against Tampa Bay, Boston, and Texas were not his best starts of the year. But if you look at the big picture, he has a 3.78 ERA since May 12th. But he's been a little short lately. A lot of conversation about the lack of velocity, averaging 88.8 miles an hour this year, which is down for him.
Well, Austin Jackson digs in, and Javier Vasquez is ready. And let's do it here in the Bronx. And the first pitch is a strike, and we are underway.
Flash, when you hear that a little short, you've lost your fastball. You hear people talking about it, and I'm sure you remember back as a hitter as you got older, that was the big thing, is you're not as quick inside, and you take it personal, but it happens over a course of a career, and it's something you deal with.
You got to guard against not overthrowing or maybe overswinging, trying to create bat speed.
Jackson out of the Yankees system, traded to the Tigers in the deal that brought the Yankees a couple of players, Curtis Granderson being the foremost player in that deal. And there's Curtis Granderson. in center field for the Yanks. And Johnny Damon is on deck. Be interesting to see the type of hand he gets. Probably a very good one. The 1-2. Pitch outside. Jackson got off to a .341 batting average start in his first 51 games. That was through June 3rd, hitting .266 in 56 games since then. The league catches up, then you have to make adjustments. Grounded foul.
Well, I think a couple of things, Michael. I don't know how you felt, Paul, but the first half, your rookie year, not that it was easy, but you were so excited mentally. You were into every game. The second half, that's when you really separate the men from the boys.
Austin Jackson's thin too. Look at that. I mean, a major league season takes a different.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably lost weight. He's in there every day. Still unbelievable outfielder, but you know, offensively sometimes it starts to take its toll throughout the year.
He's worked the count 3-2. He has one big negative in his game. He strikes out a bit too much for the Tigers' liking. Like that, as he swings and misses. And Jackson is down on strike. And let's listen to the hand that Johnny Damon's going to get.
And second, the designated hitter, number 18, Johnny Damon.
Get that haircut, he's going to tip his hat at the plate.
And the fans welcome him back in proper fashion. And he sports a mohawk that he would not have worn if he was wearing pinstripes. Now, I really shouldn't say that because Nick Swisher had one in the postseason last year. So that was a Swish hawk. I don't think there's anything, you know, the hair is above the collar.
It's funny. I remember watching the first game when Johnny Damon went back to Boston, and it was much different kind of ovation. There were some cheers, but there was a lot of booing too. But the Yankee fans, they appreciate players that have been part of championship teams.
Now, one thing, Paul, he went to the Yankees when he left the Red Sox.
I want to leave that out of the story a little bit, but. You know, there's no way around it. Johnny Damon was a good player when he was here in New York, and he was a big part of what happened last year. Didn't work out with, re-signing him, but he's gone on his way. He seemed happy. I talked to him a little bit today, but, you know, the Yankees in the outfield, some guys have got opportunities and done good things with them.
.285 hitter with the Yankees in those 4 years, 77 home runs, 93 stolen bases, a .363 on-base percentage. Started out as a center fielder and lost some of his legs and moved over to left. And won a championship with them last year. And he's one of those rare players that have won a World Series with the Yankees and the Red Sox.
You know, but that's what I remember, the way he stepped up his game last year in the postseason, in the World Series, the double steal. Kind of all of a sudden you said maybe his legs left him. They showed up in the postseason.
Tough out.
Yeah.
Tough out late in the game with the men in scoring position.
Last year, between the ALCS and the World Series, Johnny hit .327, 2 home runs, and 9 runs batted in. A 1-2. Now, Johnny's numbers this year aren't great. 7 home runs, 39 ribbies. Now, you wonder, would they be different playing in this ballpark? Comerica is a little bit bigger. It's bigger to all parts of the ballpark, and Johnny only has 7 home runs this year.
You know, it's funny as a hitter. You don't want to let the pitcher know that he just broke your bat, and he was kind of an easy way to get over to that bat boy and get a new bat, but you know he broke it. He got it on his hands.
Turning back the clock. This is what Johnny does so well. Spoils pitches. Hey, it's time for the Toyota text ball. Tonight's question is, among Johnny Damon's biggest moments with the Yankees, what was your favorite? You can text us at 58772. Was it the 6-hit game against Kansas City? Was it the walk-off home run against Minnesota? Or was it the 2 stolen bases at Philly in the World Series? I think that one's going to be easy. That might be a landslide. You can text your vote to 58772, and standard text messaging rates, of course, apply.
doing it all, Paul.
I was going to say, he's retrieving balls, breaking bats,
waving to the crowd, taking his helmet off.
Got it all working. It's only his first at bat.
Just missed outside.
Pitch, you see 90 miles an hour right there, and that's a good sign for Javi Vasquez. And, you know, he's got movement inside. He broke his bat early in the count. This ball right here, I mean, just off the corner. Flash wanted it if he was catching. I was mad if I was hitting.
2-2.
Well, noticing this about a couple of cut fastballs in on the hands of Johnny Damon. That might be a little extra pitch to negate the lack of velocity. A little cutter in on the hands of lefties, Paul, to keep them honest in there, make your changeup look a little better.
This will be the 10th pitch of the at-bat to Damon. Right back to Vasquez, who fields his position as well as anybody for the second out. Speaking of defense, let's take a look at the Yankee defense, brought to you by Mercedes. In the outfield, you've got Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher. That's left to right. Infield, A-Rod, Cheater, Cano, and Teixeira third to first. Cervelli is behind the plate. Just saw Javi Vasquez catch that comebacker.
Trying to figure out how he caught that and turned around and threw it to Robbie Cano. Huh? So he turned a 2 on that, or what happened there?
There's Brennan Bosch, and there's a strike. Brennan Bosch has had a case of 2 seasons, and you'll see Vasquez's play here.
Well, usually you just throw it around the horn, but he's going to turn around just here. Here, you have it, Robbie.
Anyway, Bosch looks like Todd Tickner, the home plate umpire, is yelling at somebody in the Tiger dugout. Foul back. Bosch hit 342 with 12 homers and 49 ribbies at the All-Star break. That's through 65 games. But since then, in the 30 games after the break, 121 with 2 homers and 6 runs batted in.
Jim Leyland's done a good thing of putting him ahead of Cabrera instead of behind, especially when you're struggling. Right there, he gets a nice hit. But, I mean, here's a young guy that's going to become a really good player that is trying to protect possibly one of the better hitters in baseball right here in Cabrera. And then Jim Leyland saw that he started to struggle, put him ahead of your better hitters, get better pitches to hit.
There's Miguel Cabrera, who is having an MVP type of season. He's second in average, third in home runs, second in RBIs to Alex Rodriguez, first in on-base percentage. Great season. And he has a 4-game hitting streak coming into this one.
Flash, a lot of true power hitters, which Cabrera is, but he also hits for average. Have a way to get him out, have a hole that you can pitch to. And I don't know if there's a specific way that you can get this guy out. Meaning, I mean, he can go the opposite way as well as he can pull it.
Yeah, he can go the opposite way with power. And the only thing that I see is you have to make him aware of that pitch inside. Kind of like Alex Rodriguez. If there's no fear of the pitch inside, even right there, it's a ball, but at least you're putting something in his mind. Very dangerous, and I'm sure they went through the scouting reports today and said this hitter will not beat us this weekend here in Yankee Stadium. If somebody else beats us, that's fine, but let's stay away from Cabrera.
1-1. 1-2. Has success against Vasquez, that's for sure. 10 for 26, that's 385, and 3 of the 10 home runs. Nice stop there by Cervelli, and the count 2-2. Just underway here at the stadium. First of 4 games between the Yankees and the Tigers. Tigers' only visit into the Bronx this year. Rained earlier, right around 6 o'clock. They had the tarp on for a couple of moments and then took it off, and there's more rain in the forecast. Swing and a miss. as Cabrera goes down on strikes. Good first inning for Vasquez. No runs a hit. One man left. Tigers nothing. And the New York Yankees.
Right-hander Max Scherzer. Take a look at his numbers on the year. 7-9, 4.03, 125 hits and 131 and 2/3 innings, and he does have 120 strikeouts. If you look at our scouting report, he took a nice little trip to Toledo, the AAA team for the Detroit Tigers at the end of May, made 2 starts there. And since then has had a 2.51 ERA and 14 starts up here in the big leagues, and a nice strikeout combination. Power, fastball, good changeup, and a quality slider, and has some road blues, a 5.12 road ERA compared to 3.03 at home.
So Derek Jeter starts it off. Derek 8 for 28 on the Yankee road trip. The Yankees were 3-3 on the trip. Yesterday, Yankees lost 1-0, and their 1 through 4 hitters in the lineup were combined 0 for 13. Pitches upstairs and inside.
I was walking through the locker room in the new stadium here. Charlie Wadsworth gets game tape of a pitcher, and it's the first time I've seen him throw. And you could see how right-handers are going to have a lot of trouble with this guy. Kind of comes out, slings the ball, gets a lot of movement, and it's not that little 89-mile-an-hour slider or sinker. I mean, he can let it go, get up to 93, 94 miles an hour.
Now, Scherzer has never faced the Yankees. Now, there have been 12 previous games this season, including yesterday, in which a starting pitcher was facing the Yankees for the first time in his career, and the Yankees have a 4-8 record in those games. Now, that could be problematic because it's a close race in the American League East. When you get into September, you're going to be playing teams that aren't in it. They're going to expand their rosters. They're going to call up kids that you've never seen before, and those are games that could be important for the Yankees in their playoff chase, and they've got to somehow fix this where they don't hit first-time pitchers well.
And I was at that game yesterday in Kansas City. Brian Bullington, first time through the order, the Yankees just went up there swinging early in the count, which kind of surprised me. I thought they'd take a longer look, and that might be the remedy to get better against some of these kids that you've never seen. First time through, take some pitches, try to get a look. It wasn't the game plan yesterday, and Bullington had the game of his life.
The 3-2, strike 3. Jeter down looking, and he tossed away the bat. He thought it was ball 4. And he looks back at Todd Tickner, the home plate umpire, and has some words for him, too.
You've already seen the Detroit Tiger dugout get on Tickner behind the plate. Derek Jeter doesn't look happy. Looks like it hits that corner. Pitcher's pitch. Is it high enough, Paul?
On a 3-2 pitch, that's tough. You're kind of busted him in a couple times. You're kind of leaning inside for that pitch, and you see that. That's a power fastball. That's just not a little sinker.
There's Nick Swisher. Swisher on the road trip was 6 for 22. Scherzer deals. I was talking to a former Met manager, Bobby Valentine, today about the Yankees' struggles first time, and he said, I think that why the Yankees would be affected more than some other teams is because they have so many veterans, and veterans have success because of the little book they put together in their mind about how a guy's going to pitch them. And when you put a veteran up against a guy they see for the first time, they're a little bit of a disadvantage. A younger team, they're just cutting and slashing. They might not be at that same disadvantage.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Your best scouting report is in your own mind on certain pitches, pitchers that you faced before. I don't know what it is about hitters, but you remember how they get you out. You remember the movement, how you see the ball. And until you go up and face a guy, you really, the 93 sinker doesn't mean much until you go see it out of his hand.
Strike three.
That's 96 there. I mean, that just shows you this guy has good stuff. He hasn't even got to his changeup, but I know one thing. And that's some arguments at the plate tonight.
You can usually say an umpire does a good job when you don't call his name out for a few innings. Another borderline pitch goes against the Yankees and Nick Swisher.
This one looked away to me.
Off the plate.
There's Mark Teixeira. Pitch outside.
Good job of catching here. And I always thought pitchers were very tough. I mean, he comes out of the bullpen with his A fastball. You've seen 95, 96. You talked about in the scouting report, good changeup, good curveball. Hasn't even got to those pitches. You get through the order the first time with only using your fastball. It sets you up to pitch a good 7-8 innings.
Tries to pull an outside pitch and grounds it to second, and Scherzer has a 1-2-3 inning against the Yankees. Well, we've played one here at the stadium. There's no And we go all the way back to 1974. Thurman Munson hits a 13th inning walk-off home run off Chicago's Terry Forster to give the Yankees a 9-8 win at Shea Stadium. They played for 2 years at Shea. It's the only walk-off home run of Munson's career. Demand greatness in every sip and every season. Johnny Walker, proud sponsor of the New York Yankees. No score as we go to the top of the second inning. And Carlos Guillen steps in against Javier Vasquez. That one is driven to right field and deep. Giving chase is Swisher. On the run, he can't get there, and it bounces into the seats for a double.
The ball must have got in on Guillen a little bit. That ball looked like a home run off the bat. Must have got in jam, but pulled it down the line. Swisher can't get over there and make the play. Yeah, it looks like it just got in enough on the label to keep it in the ballpark. But again, leadoff double. Tigers are in business.
Here's Ryan Rayburn. 8 for his last 17. Tigers are a disappointment. There's no other way to say this. They right now, as they enter this game, 10.5 games behind the Minnesota Twins in the Central. And they're actually 7.5 games behind the second place Chicago White Sox, who they just beat the last 2 games in a row in Chicago. But this is not what people expected out of the Tigers. They spent some money, they brought in some talent, and no one expected them to be at this point 57-60. They thought they'd be battling for the top of the Central, and those are the Central standings.
Injuries came in a big part of it. Maggie Ordonez done for the year. I mean, that's one of their power hitters. Good, solid player. Brandon Inge was out of the lineup. Guillen was out of the lineup. So that, you know, they've gone through some injuries. They still have good pitching.
First half they did the good job though. 48-38. ERA was 4.29, but now 9-22 in the second half, and they are running out of time. Also lost their hard-throwing right-hander in the bullpen, Joel Zumaya. Pitches high. And the Twins don't seem as if they want to go away anytime soon. Interesting move by the Twins yesterday. Ron Gardenhire took out Kevin Slowey. 7 innings of no-hit ball, 106 pitches, and he'd been shut down for 10 days with some elbow tenderness. He took him out. He thinks he's more important than that no-hitter.
I saw Slowey's comments after that, and really, I was impressed. You know, he said it meant a lot to me that you know, that my manager felt that it was more important for me in the big picture to win games down the road than to try to get this no-hitter. And you know, Gardenhire does a great job there as far as team play, how that team goes out and wins. Pretty good story.
That whole organization does it right. You know, they play fundamental baseball, but tough decision for a manager.
Yeah. That's almost one of the worst things when coming out of spring training, when pitchers are on, you know, strict pitch counts, and guys get off to a good start, have a no-hitter through 4 or 5, and all of a sudden you know that you can't get guys through 9 innings. It's tough on managers.
Great 2 pitch to Rayburn. Hits one deep to left field. Giving chase Gardner. He's on the track at the wall. See ya. 2-run home run, Ryan Rayburn. And the Tigers lead 2-0.
Seventh home run of the year for Ryan Rayburn. Getting to play left field pretty consistently. It looked like he got a hanging breaking ball from Avi Vasquez. Was out in front a little bit, but does a nice job keeping his hands back. See a little almost double hits there. It's a ball up in the air. It's going to go out a long way. Coors Light cold hard blast from Ryan Rayburn.
Inge fouls it back. It's becoming a little bit of an issue for Vasquez. He's allowed a home run, at least 1 home run in 6 straight starts. And you know, he said it in the paper today. He said, if I don't have the velocity that I'm used to having, I can't make any kind of location mistakes. It's hard for a pitcher to be perfect.
A lot of people don't realize it, though, but you lose a couple miles an hour on your fastball. You also lose that bite on your curveball. You also lose the, you know, the differential on your changeup. So it affects everything. And, you know, you're talking 89 to 91. It doesn't seem like a lot. It's a perfect pitch right there. That's not going to get hit. But I mean, that's an 89-mile-an-hour fastball. In the past, it's been 91, 92, which makes that curveball a little sharper and that changeup a little better.
You know what would concern me more, though, and we kind of saw it in the open with some of the highlights from Javi, frustration, showing it out on the mound that, you know what, I don't know if I could pitch like this. Well, we saw Mike Mussina do it here. You know, if Javi Vasquez is going to lose velocity, pitch inside more.
Hot shot up the middle, a base hit up the bat of Johnny Peralta.
Wow, every once in a while you just see a ball and you know it's hit hard, and that ball is out away from him, and it's just what you were talking about, Flash. Every once in a while you've got to get hitters not diving out. That ball's out over the middle of the plate, just squared up, line drive right up the middle.
And remember, Mike Mussina said, as my velocity decreased, I had to pitch inside more to make hitters aware of that part of the plate. Javi Vasquez tried to do it there, but made a mistake.
Here's Alex Avila, Tiger catcher. Now, he had a dust-up with Armando Galarraga in Chicago over the weekend. A very public dust-up in the dugout where they kind of went at each other. Galarraga really went after Avila.
Dust-up.
So it was a nice little pitcher-catcher conversation. Got a little heated in the dugout. I loved it.
I've seen a few of those over the years. Every once in a while it just happens.
I guess there was something about Paul Konerko got a base hit, and there was a little history with Galarraga and Konerko, and Avila wanted to just say, hey, stay aggressive with him. You know, don't get timid. Galarraga didn't like it. They got in a little tussle. Love that, though, the heat of the competition, Paul. When you talk to people around the Tigers, the respect factor for Alex Avila went up yesterday. You know, they like the way he swings the bat, but they felt like he gained a lot of respect in that clubhouse for kind of taking charge, becoming a little bit of a leader behind the plate. Flashbacks of Randy Johnson when I saw that yesterday, Paul.
God, don't bring those flashbacks. I still have flashbacks of him. I don't think I fouled a ball off of him.
And they walked him on 4 pitches. Dave Island wants to talk with Javi Vasquez. Let's look at the game time weather conditions presented by Bigelow Tea. Right now it doesn't look threatening, but the forecast is for scattered showers. It's 82 degrees, very high humidity, and not much wind, 9 miles per hour. Now, there was some thought, because Vasquez has, quote-unquote, a dead arm, and he's going through a dead arm period. Maybe that's why the velocity's not there, because he feels fine. There's no pain whatsoever about skipping him over in the start. But they didn't feel that Mitre or Godin was ready to take this start. They didn't want to make a roster move unless it was an emergency, calling up a guy like Ivan Nova. So they decided to go with Vasquez. A lot of pitchers go through dead arm, usually not at this point. They go through it a lot earlier, where there's just no life there. There's no pain, but the ball's not coming out of your hand the way it should. And Vasquez is going through that at a late time in the season.
See Sergio Mitre scuffling in the bullpen.
0-2. Austin Jackson struck out in the first inning. And when you have a dead arm, you could try to throw harder, and the ball's still not coming out faster.
It's probably the worst thing you could do, Michael, is try to overthrow, create a little bit of velocity.
High fly ball deep right center. Granderson is there, and on the track he'll make the play. Peralta tags and goes to third. Heading back to first is Avila. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV, the official HD service provider of Yankees baseball on Yes. And now that brings up Damon again. Damon lined back to Vasquez in the first inning after a 10-pitch at bat.
Paul, you brought up a good point about the curveball that just rolls sometimes when you don't have the velocity or a dead arm. That's the pitch that's really jumping out here in 2 innings from Javi Vasquez. Just that get me over, rolling, breaking ball.
That was one of the best he's thrown. A lot of them have been up in the zone with not a lot of break. That's a little cutter right there. That important pitch to lefties, keeps you off that sinker, especially when you can't overpower somebody with it. You gotta either be able to run that sinker back in on the inside corner or cut that fastball.
1-1. Now, this is a spot where Johnny has not done well this year. 7 for 44 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That's 159. Two, 1. 3-1.
Dangerous count right here to Johnny Damon, even though those numbers you just mentioned, Michael. 3-1 with a pitcher who's struggling a little bit with velocity, doesn't have a lot of bite on a curveball. Be an opportunity for a changeup here. I would not give in to Johnny Damon.
Driven deep to right field. It's a foul ball. Deep into the second deck.
You got to almost feel hesitant as a catcher. You know the guy's struggling. You know his confidence is struggling. You know, you've got a veteran hitter in there. You see that ball is an inside corner. I mean, and it gets to it very easily right there. So, you know, as a catcher, you got to start trying to invent things in your own mind.
Stay away from him. Backdoor curve, change up, something.
Yeah, stay away from all of them, though. You got to get it out of here.
3-2. And he walked him. So the bases are loaded. And that's going to bring up Brennan Bosch.
Almost going to try to pitch backwards here, Paul. You know, maybe throw some change-ups early in the count, and if you get an opportunity to surprise him with a fastball, most important thing, try to get ahead. I'd go off speed early here. Got a kid who's struggling a little bit, does have a base hit in this ball game. Probably looking to do some damage on a first pitch fastball.
And the pitch is high. Well, Vasquez really teetering now on pitching the Yankees out of this game. You give up a big hit to Bosch, and the way that Scherzer has pitched of late.
Well, they've got some dirt. Let that happen. Anything can happen back there. Flash, a little dirt in the eye.
Gene Monahan out there to take care of it.
You know Gino's got a tool for this too, huh? So eye washers. There you go. I knew he had something.
Gino's been here since 1973. Good to see him feeling great. And heading back to the dugout. And heading back to the dugout through the raindrops that are beginning to fall here at the stadium again.
Wait a second here, Michael. I'm looking up. We got blue skies. Where's the rain coming from?
It's coming from somewhere.
Is this one of these sun showers?
The 1-0. 1-1. Crowd retreating quickly. They're looking for cover. A mass exodus. Danny Cunningham worries about his field. One pitch, foul back. Danny Cunningham says it's going to be about a 5 or 10 minute rain shower.
See the difference there. I mean, Javi Vasquez got away with the pitch up and out of the zone. You know, good veteran hitter's going to stretch him out, get him in a hitter's count. But right there, he got away with the pitch out of the zone, foul ball. Now he has an opportunity to get out of this inning with a 2-strike count.
Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not, said Chad Fairchild.
Flash, as a hitter, the only thing I remember is what I kept hearing from coaches over and over in the minor leagues is you don't want to get to 3-2. Make this pitch happen 2-2. I mean, are you thinking that as a catcher? You just can't throw it down the middle.
Well, you're thinking, I think in this situation, I have 2 pitches here to make to get a strike. Whether it's a changeup or a curveball, go back to back.
One with a fastball.
Some pretty good swings on the fastball. Yeah, the changeup has been such a good pitch for Javi Vasquez all year. He's really stayed away from it early in this ball game. I wonder if he's a little shy, a little lack in velocity will make that changeup not as effective. He's trying to stay away from it.
The time for it right here is back-to-back pitches inside. One being a curveball in the dirt and then a hard fastball in.
2-2. Popped him up. Off speed pitch and out of play.
Another breaking ball, so he has stayed away from that changeup. But again, I mean, you're in a dangerous count. Cabrera on deck. I mean, Detroit has an opportunity right here to break this game wide open. And if you're Javi Vasquez, you got to feel like you got an opportunity to keep the Yankees right in this thing.
57 pitches already. Well, we talk about it all the time with Nick Swisher. What a great place to hit. And you brought it up earlier, Paul, for Brennan Bosch. Hitting in front of Cabrera. Bases loaded. You know you're going to get plenty of pitches to lean on.
30 pitches already this inning. 57 total. 2-2. It seems that Vasquez doesn't quite have the pitch to put you away. If he makes a good pitch, they're able to foul it off. The 2-2 again. Boy, wanted that one. He didn't get it. So now that turns everybody loose on 3-2 and 2 outs.
You see, that's his best fastball, 90 miles an hour, right off the outside corner. As a pitcher, you're begging for that pitch. As a hitter, you're begging to still be in there.
They called that same pitch a strike against Swisher. Peralta, Avila, and Damon. Payoff. Swing and a miss. Got him. Breaking ball. 2 runs, 3 hits, and the bases are left loaded. We go to the bottom of the second. 2-0 Bengals. Against the White Sox. Here's Alex Rodriguez on Saturday, a 3-home run game. And then in his first at bat yesterday, it looked like he really got a hold of it, but the wind hauled it in. Would have been 4 home runs and 4 at bats. Popped up, first base side, and out of play.
Well, you're right yesterday. I mean, the wind was gushing in yesterday, but this was on Saturday. Impressive, all 3 of them back-legging the second one just to the left of center, and then this was an absolute bomb into the fountains. Said he found something with Kevin Long, getting his hips through a little bit better. I guess so.
The 0-1. 0-2. That second home run, it almost looked like he was trying that home run. His back leg flew out, and like he was teeing off.
Well, that finish really jumped out at me because you don't see Alex kind of fall back like that. Usually he's really out in front with his upper body. Paul, you mentioned a tough at bat Scherzer is for a right-hander. He stands on the right side of the mound. Creates a tough angle for a right-handed batter.
Fastball foul back.
It's that little sling kind of sidearm. It just said, it's a tough delivery point for right-handers to pick up. And like I said, he's still just going at guys with fastballs. He hasn't brought his changeup and hasn't brought his breaking ball into the game much yet.
The 1-2.
Oh, how do you catch that one?
97 ribbies for Alex. That's tops in the American League. He's taking that lead away from Cabrera. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. One away. Let's take a look at the Tiger defense, which is brought to you by Mercedes. In the outfield, it's Rayburn, Jackson, and Bosch. That's left to right. Johnny Davis is Jackson's best center fielder in the league. Infield, Inge, Peralta, Guillen, and Cabrera third to first. Avila behind the plate, and Scherzer is on the mound.
You talk about it, how they not off to the kind of year that they were supposed to have. And Johnny Damon says he's the best center fielder defensively. Cabrera might be the best hitter in the American League. Robbie Cano has something to say about that too. But Verlander, one of the better pitchers. So they have quality players. Every once in a while, years, you have some injuries and things just don't go together. Just don't have a good year as a team.
And what a heartbreaker last year. Came down to the last day and tie-breaking game, and the Twins won and the Tigers go home. And now a really disappointing season for Jim Leyland and his team now. Foul back.
I'll tell you what, you can see his fastballs. It's exploding in the zone. Everybody's kind of fouling and getting in on him. And a lot of movement.
Just thinking the same thing. A 2-0 count, you very rarely see Robinson Cano get tied up like he did on that fastball.
2-1.
Yeah, we see the changeup. And again, right now it seems like he's got everything in his arsenal. He's got his good fastball. And in my mind, the catcher has done a great job at staying away from his other pitches until he really needs him in the count. Back to a fastball in here.
Right in on the hands. Grounded to Guillen for the second out.
A little different than yesterday in Kansas City. Brian Bullington, more a soft throwing right-hander, had a good slider. This is a power fastball right on the hands. Robinson Cano.
You see, you start as a left-handed hitter to pull those hands in to try to get the barrel out there. That's just, that's too hard and too fast at this point to do.
Here's Posada, 1 for 11 on the road trip, and longer stretch, 2 for his last 19. Off-speed pitch for a strike.
As a left-handed hitter, every once in a while you can save the swing. You're going out, and then you're beat right here. And you see you try to pull those hands in as quick as you can to try to get the barrel of the ball. Too good of stuff, right? So far from Scherzer. It's all about trying to get that ball to hit the barrel of the bat to try to put that thing in play hard. Sometimes you get extension. That's where you get your good home runs, but. As a left-handed hitter, when you're beat and you can pull those hands in, you can fight that ball up. But again, he's got good velocity, good movement so far.
Well, his last 12 starts, 5 and 4, 2.28 for Scherzer. And Posada has struggled in his last 16 games since July 25th. Missed inside.
That's one of those pitches right there, Flash, that you're setting up outside and you reach across the plate. Might even be a strike, but because you reached across the plate so much, you don't get the call.
3-2, swing and a miss.
Wow.
That's an impressive 2 innings for Max Scherzer. Retires the Yankees in order each inning, and he has 4. Tigers. We're joined now by our correspondent, Kimberly Jones. She is in the third base dugout area. And Kimberly, this is a very important week for the Yankees. Last year they had their first Hope Week, and it was such a success that when they visited the White House, President Barack Obama actually brought it up and pointed out how important it was. And I know you spoke to the Yankee manager, Joe Girardi, about how important it is for him and his team.
Yeah, Michael. In fact, Joe Girardi looks back at last year's Hope Week and says it was important in us coming together as a team and going on that championship run. Today, he said it's important because it puts things in perspective. It gives us an opportunity to step back and realize the positive effects we can have on others and their lives. He said, we realize we have it pretty good.
Well, one of the Hope Week participants we saw today throughout the first pitch, just an inspiring moment, Jorge Gorjales. Why don't you tell us about him?
He is an inspiration, Michael. Jorge Gorjales, a 13-year-old from North Halden, New Jersey, actually born in Panama. When he was just over a year old, he contracted an infection that left doctors with one painful choice, and that was to amputate all of his limbs. It came to be that John and Faye Dykeson of North Halden, New Jersey, through their work with Healing the Children organization, brought Jorge into their home. They already had 5 children who were all older, and they surrounded him with love and with hope. And Jorge has grown up where he likes to be treated like any other kid. He loves soccer, and he loves swimming, and that's where the Yankees come in. Today, Jorge thought he was going to a friend's house to swim like he always does, and guess who was there as you look at the video? Swisher and Mariano and Mosley and Gardner all in their swim trunks. Jorge told me the highlight was when Swisher picked him up and threw him in the pool. So he had lots of smiles today, and the players were smiling too, Michael. He fit right in when he was stretching with the players here around 4:30 this afternoon.
You know, it always comes out that Hope Week is something that the Yankees do for people, but the people that they actually celebrate, those people inspire the Yankees as well.
You're right about that, and Mariano, of course, played a very special role in today's festivities because he's from Panama, and Jorge told me it was such a pleasure and an honor to meet Mariano. Well, Mariano told me this kid has great charisma, great courage, a contagious spirit, and smile. He said here he is with no arms, no legs, and he doesn't complain. He's an inspiration. Well, I asked Jorge, I said, how do you think you inspire these Yankees? He said, by looking at what I do, I can do something. I'm just a regular person. And Michael, he's a little feisty too. When I made sure I was pronouncing Grajales correctly, he pronounced it for me. It was correct, and he said, I just hope you don't mess it up.
Now, whenever you see team functions like this, I mean, a baseball season is very long. And over 6 months in spring training, you have 18 days off. A lot of those are travel days. And it would seem it would be tough to get guys that want to participate in this, Kimberly. But that's not the case. It wasn't the case last year, right. And it's not the case this year.
Absolutely, it's not the case, Michael. Director of Media Relations Jason Zillow relayed a story to me that when he was introducing the 5 stories this week to the Yankee players in the clubhouse one day, he finished his presentation and looked over, and the Yankees to a man were walking to the sign-up sheet with pens in their hands to sign up for which stories they wanted to be a part of, some part of more than one this week, and every player and coach in that clubhouse is taking part this week in Hope Week, as are some members of the front office of the Yankees. And today, Kevin Long and Mike Harkey also joined in at the pool party. They did not don trunks and get in the pool, but they were there supportive nonetheless.
Well, good stuff, Kimberly, and good stuff by the Yankees as well. We'll hear from you in the postgame.
Thanks, Michael.
And you see Guillen punch a single through the left side, and the Tigers threatening again first and second with nobody out. And can you imagine what that kid must have felt like? He comes to the pool and awesome. The New York Yankees are there?
Absolutely, and I was reading the full story, and actually I'm fortunate enough to be part of one of the events tomorrow. I can't let it out what's going on, but it's I'm looking forward to doing that, and it's just it's a neat week for an organization to take time and really make people feel special.
I think sometimes professional athletes don't realize, and even entertainers don't realize what they could mean to somebody just by showing up and showing some interest. And the stories that the Yankees have zeroed in on this week are just fascinating stories, and the fact that the players want to take part really speaks volume about the type of guys the Yankees have in that clubhouse.
Well, they want to take part, and when you talk to them when they come away from these experiences, they get more out of it, it seems like. You know, they have a different perspective. They enjoy being out there.
One of the things they did last year, and Sergio Mitre warming up, with the kids that could not be exposed to the sun. And almost the entire Yankee team stayed here after a night game and played softball with the kids. It's called Camp Sundown. And that really showed me something. Nobody went home. Everybody came out on the field and hung out with the kids. Just a very, very neat moment. And it was something that, as I said, caught the eye of the present administration. That's why President Barack Obama brought it up when the Yankees were there. That one is lined to center field. Granderson makes the catch, tagging Cabrera, but he just draws the throw. So Rayburn will get the first out.
And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, this isn't something that's passed down through Major League Baseball that every team does. This is something that Yankees do. And that's what makes it even, you know, more cool in my eyes that, you know, this organization and these players at this great stadium are doing this.
Here's Brandon Inge. Inge struck out looking in the second inning. That one is driven deep to left field. If it's fair, it's trouble, but it's a foul ball.
I'll tell you what, Flash, if you're the catcher right now, every time you call a breaking ball, you've got to hold your breath. I mean, he's hanging every one of those breaking balls to the point where they're hit hard or they're hit foul for home runs.
It's kind of like the Javi Vasquez we saw early on, where he's leaving a little bit early with his front side, so his arm drags and everything rolls, or he pushes his fastball. And you're in a tough spot. You're right, Paul, when you're behind the plate, because you have to keep calling it. You want it to get better. It's the only way he's going to get better is by throwing. But even there, you can see his front side kind of leaving, and it's a push of the fastball instead of really driving it through the spot.
Missed outside.
This is where I hear every once in a while, Flash, the manager will go to the catcher and between innings or something and say, what does this guy have? I mean, do you flat out say, I think we can get through this tonight, or I think that we're in trouble?
If you're in trouble and you feel it, you say we're in trouble.
You just got to tell him he does not have it tonight.
Now, you hope that he doesn't ask you that question in front of your pitcher.
Right. That kind of makes it a little uncomfortable, doesn't it?
If he does that, say, hey, we'll find a way to get him through. But you're in a tough spot right here. I mean, you got a 3-1 count. You make one pitch, you could get a double play ball and get out of this and maybe get on a roll. And, yesterday we saw A.J. Burnett struggle in the first inning, was in a lot of trouble in the second, got a double play ball, and then threw 8 strong innings. See if Javi Vasquez can do the same.
Right back to Vasquez. There's one. And Cano loses it on the transfer, so the out is made at second. And that might have been a double play, but instead it's first and third with 2 outs.
Javi Vasquez is such a good athlete. He didn't have a whole lot on this throw, and I think that confused Robinson Cano. And did he have contact, or did he have that in the glove? We'll see.
And the ball was rolling around the whole time. You see the exchange really never got to his hand. Robbie's so good at that, but you're right, Flash. He kind of had to reach for the ball. It was almost like he threw a changeup. It just took Robbie out of sync.
Here's Johnny Peralta. Peralta, a trade deadline acquisition from the Indians.
And I've said it many times, Johnny Peralta's a dead fastball hitter. You get him in an account where he can hit a fastball and he'll hurt you. But if you get ahead, you can expand the zone with him. But this is a big, big hitter for Vasquez. If he can get out of this inning and battle a couple more, who knows? The Yankees throw up a big inning, and it could be one of those nights where you pick up a win only going 5 or 6 innings.
Pitch count at 78. We're only in the third. First and third with 2 outs. Cabrera's at third and Inge is at first. Held there by Teixeira. 5 hits for the Tigers so far against Vasquez, the 1-0. Breaking ball misses outside, 2-0.
That was a pretty good pitch, too, and you see Javi Vasquez wanted the call. Looks like his arm angle's dropping a little bit mechanically. He's got the dead arm going, but also dropping down a little bit more. It's a close pitch, good slider. Doesn't get the call.
He's getting by on Guile right now, that's for sure. And you just wonder how long he could tempt fate.
Well, I would be concerned if Dave Island, the pitching coach, or Joe Girardi, the manager, when you see that arm angle drop a little bit, you get worried that he might hurt himself. Fighting a dead arm, you don't want to see the mechanics change.
Count 3-1. Three-one pitch. And the count 3-2. So that releases Inge at first. Obviously, Cabrera will stay put at third with 3-2 and 2 outs. Mitre ready in the bullpen, just watching from out in right center. 3-2. And he walked. Oh, he struck him out. A late call by Tickner. He struck him out with a high fastball. No runs to hit, no errors, and 2 men left. Leland World champion New York Yankees at the stadium for the remainder of the 2010 season. Great locations are still available and include 2010 postseason options for those same seats. For information, visit Yankees.com or call 718-293-6000. Granderson leads off, takes a pitch low from Scherzer. Scherzer 6 up, 6 down over the first 2 innings with 4 strikeouts. And a strike. So Granderson facing his former mates. Last year for the Tigers, he had 30 home runs. Fouled away. This year, 11 with the Yankees. Did miss close to a month with a groin injury. And the rain started to fall again here at the stadium.
You know, guys, the new swing or the new mechanics he took out there in Kansas City, actually swung the bat really well in that series. Trying to keep 2 hands on the bat and starting his hands a little bit further back. Almost too quick inside, Paul. It was like he had more time to recognize the pitch and take care of it.
Takes care of that one, lines it into left field for base hit. Yankees first base runner. Well, this is the 3-team trade where Granderson came to the Yankees. The Tigers got Scherzer from the Diamondbacks, Austin Jackson from the Yankees, Phil Koch from the Yankees, and Daniel Schlereth from Arizona. And Arizona got Edwin Jackson. They've since traded him. And Ian Kennedy from the Yankees. I was listening to you and Kenny yesterday doing the game, John. What's the advantage of keeping both hands on the bat? What are they trying to do?
You know, Kevin Long said that he was trying to keep Curtis Granderson in the strike zone a little bit longer, which I was surprised because I would always take my top hand off and felt like that kept me through the strike zone a little bit longer. That's something they're working on, and Kevin was very encouraged. You know, a lot of deep fly balls to left field, which he had not seen from Curtis early on. And they're a base hit the other way. Take a look on our Yes Mo. See if he holds on with his top hand. Well, he releases all the way through, but that bat had staying through the zone a long time.
Yeah, I did notice early in the year, and I even, Michael, I talked about it, how he had so much power with never really loading his hands. And if you never get your hands back, your body has a tendency to go forward, and when you're going forward, you do lose a lot of power, and you do have to make your decision a lot quicker because the ball gets on you.
You know, I was somewhat startled, though. I guess reinvent is too strong a word, but you're redoing a 29-year-old swing. What's the likelihood of that?
You don't know if it's something he used to do and kind of got away from it, or, you know, I always felt that every single year your mechanics were a little different. Your stance was different. I mean, you take video from players 5 years ago to now, and you know, they're completely different at times. And it's just a comfort thing. You work day in and day out to feel good at the plate. It's not always the same.
I was amazed that Curtis Granderson went to Kevin Long and said, hey, you know, is there something we would do in the offseason? What would you change? And Kevin said, I got about 3 or 4 things. And Curtis said, well, let's do it now. Let's not wait. And it surprised me, a veteran hitter, an all-star hitter, would actually go to a hitting instructor and kind of open up like that.
Runner goes on the move, and the ball fouled away. Well, no one has really questioned Granderson's work ethic and the way he goes about his business and the type of guy he is. And last thing he wants to do is be hitting, you know, 240 here on August 16th, but that's the case, although it goes up a bit with that single. Now he's at 242. Runner goes again, and again fouled away.
It's a problem with August, Flash. If it's 240 in August, it just doesn't go up quick enough. You know, you're 240 in April, you have a big day, and you're up to 280, and you're 300s in the lights, but you know, you just have to readjust your thinking. When you get to August and your numbers aren't going to add up to where you thought they were opening day, you know, you gotta readjust things and keep yourself focused on playing good and not trying to make up for the whole season.
How about focusing on getting some big hits down the stretch in a pennant race, possibility of playoffs, being that hot guy in the playoffs?
And Flash, you've been on both sides of the coin here, where the Yankees, where you're thinking about the big hits in the playoffs ahead, and in Tampa Bay, where you were just going to finish out and go home. And it's such a different mentality when you know that you're going to have big at bats coming down the stretch.
Granderson going, avoids the tag by Guillen, and the out is made at first. So sending the base runner kept the Yankees out of a double play there.
Seguin goes with the glove flip right to Peralta, and it's going to be a little bit late, but they'll take the out at first.
Oh. What do you think, Michael? Safe?
I guess I missed it through the raindrops. I thought he took a swipe tag at him, but he actually flipped the ball a second. Let's see here.
It's close.
It's not in the hand yet. The foot's on the bag, so we'll say safe. Second base umpire Eric Cooper said safe.
That's what we're going with?
Yep. The rules.
That's one of the rules I wanted to change. You know, when we always had to go along with the umpire.
Brett Gardner's starting to pick it up again. 6 for 18 on the road trip, and if you narrow it down, 6 for his last 12. So he's punching the average back up. He had dipped under 280. I think he was 2 for 32 at one point in Texas. Yankees like when Gardner drives in a run. They're 15-1 in the last 16 games where he's had an RBI. Runner in scoring position at second. And a strike. Since the All-Star break, you've seen Gardner's average go down, 203 in the second half. And that 203 is after his recent 6 for 12. The 2-1. 2-2. Seems like Scherzer has locked into a steady 93, occasionally pop it to 94. Earlier in the game, he was at 95, a couple of pitches.
Well, we talk about Javi Vasquez and his velocity down at this point in the year, and this young man Scherzer, at the beginning of the year, his velocity was down, and that little move to AAA for a couple starts, he found it.
3-2.
AAA for Detroit, still Toledo?
Toledo. New stadium in Toledo.
I don't care. A trip to Toledo gets you throwing a little harder every time.
Yeah, right.
And to Toledo, Mike?
No.
I was a mud hen for about a month and a half. Yep. Long month and a half.
Did they have him picked? No, he just got in. Had him leaning, though. The exchange between Scherzer and Peralta wasn't perfect.
See Curtis Granderson leaning and a high throw. Peralta's momentum takes him towards first base. Didn't look like Curtis was going to steal the bag. He's trying to get a good secondary lead.
Good throw, definitely had him.
It almost seemed like he waited to see daylight there rather than just throw the ball. And if he had just thrown the ball and expected daylight, then Scherzer probably would have had him. Oh, he's loading up. A bad throw, too.
It's all about location. Look, good little sinker down and in. Got him there. Right?
3-2. And Gardner walks. And that's going to bring up Jeter.
Well, this is what happens. I mean, the first 3 innings we've talking about Javi Vasquez and how he's trying to get through these innings, and all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard, you know, it's 2-0. Now you've got an opportunity to get right back into the game. Might be one of those games that he'll feel good about. Battled through his 5th inning and might come up with a win.
Pitch is high.
Here comes the slider, Paul. You talked about Avila behind the plate. Fastballs the first time around. The first pitch slider to Derek Jeter, who hadn't seen it his first at bat.
There's a strike. One. Grounded to third. There's one. On to first. It's a double play. So Jeter banks into a 5-5-3 double play. No runs a hit and one man left. We played 3 here at the stadium. It is 2-0 Tigers. Who are the only Tigers pitchers to win both the American League MVP and the Cy Young Award in the same season?
Pitchers. I know one of them. I think. Do I get credit for one of them?
Yeah, you get 50%.
50, that's not passing grade.
No, it's a foul.
That count then. I got to retake the test.
Here's Alex Avila, and the first pitch is a strike. 2-0 Tigers over the Yankees. Yankees have one hit. Granderson single in left field. This is one of those days that Vasquez gets through 5 innings, throws 100 pitches. He'll feel like he's in a heavyweight fight because he is really grinding every pitch.
A lot of stressful pitches, a lot of men on base, a lot of pitches you could give up runs on, and those are the pitches that take their toll.
Play that ended the bottom of the 3rd inning. Jeter's double play. It's his 16th grounded into double play this year. He had 18 all of last year. And Derek is not having the season that he had last year, which is one of the best seasons he ever had. So hitting in the 270s and still has not found the stroke, but he perseveres and scored a lot of runs. Swing and a miss. One away.
Well, you couldn't hope anything more if you're manager Joe Girardi, if he could have an easy inning here, a 1-2-3 where you know you could give him an opportunity in the 5th, possibly the 6th.
I think even if it's 1-2-3, it's not going to be easy. Yeah. Just the way it looks for Javi tonight, it's going to be work.
There's Austin Jackson 0 for 2. Fouled away.
He's got his hat up on top of his head, rubbing the baseball like, man, find a way to get through.
I used to love to watch David Cohn on these nights where he would just invent ways to get through, and the next thing you'd know, you'd think he's got nothing, and you'd blink of an eye, you'd be in the 7th inning and in the game. Another breaking ball didn't get called. He's he had just a way of getting in late in the game, even without his best stuff. Picked up a lot of wins that way.
1-1. 2-1.
Our good buddy Mike Mussina would always say there are about 10 starts like that during the course of a year where you have absolutely nothing. You got to find a way, get through, give your team at least 5.
Grounded to Jeter. Backhanded. He sets and fires in. Guns down Jackson for the second out. Jeter leading the American League in fielding percentage at shortstop. Made a nice play there on Jackson.
Javi Vasquez will take this. A hard hit ground ball to Derek Jeter's right. No problem with the backhand and strong throw.
Ismo makes that look so easy. That ball was hit right on the nose. Jeet, stay down with the ball. Don't kind of jab at it. You youngsters out there, stay down with the ball and watch it into your glove.
The 0-1. 1-1. The 1-1. Yankee fans don't like this matchup in their memory because in 2004, Javi Vasquez came on in relief in Game 7 of that famous ALCS, and Johnny Damon hit one into the upper deck of the old stadium for a grand slam, and Red Sox completed an improbable comeback from down 3-0, and that was Javi's first turn through with the Yankees. And I really truly believe that at bat, and you'll see it right here, turned the Yankee fans against Vasquez this year. And when he struggled early, you wondered would he be able to plow through, but he did. He pulled himself out of it.
Well, Javi admitted he put a little too much pressure on himself starting the year. Wanted to get off to a great start, trying too hard.
That's what he's done against Vasquez in the regular season. That does not include that Game 7. 8 for 25. 2 homers. That's 320. And the 3-2. Foul back. And the pitch. Line foul. Why is he so good at this, fouling pitches off like that?
You know, he's been a leadoff hitter in the past. He's hit in these situations. He's a veteran player. He's not uncomfortable hitting with 2 strikes. So it's just, you know, he kind of expands his zone a little bit just to foul off pitches until you make a mistake. Not afraid to get jammed, that's for sure.
3-2. And he works a walk for the second time tonight.
Well, Flash, I guess you're right. It couldn't be too easy. Had a chance for a 1-2-3 inning. Damon put together a 9 or 10 pitch at bat, draws a walk.
Well, those are the at bats that kill you too, because you get frustrated. You can see Javi took a little walk off the mound, breathing hard. Now you got a young kid up there who has some pop, 14 home runs.
100 pitches for Vasquez. Yankees are down 2-0, and they look on the board in right center field. They see Tampa Bay up 2-0 over Texas in the bottom of the 5th. That one's grounded foul. There's just one game separating those two teams in the American League East.
I'll tell you what, there's 2 good teams going at it, playing pretty well, and that's a great matchup with Lee and Price throwing tonight. 2 of the better left-handers in the American League.
Yankees came back from a 6-1 deficit to Lee the last time out. In 5 innings, they were down 6-1 and won that game. One of the biggest wins of the year for the Yanks. Kind of a statement game. Almost like, okay, we might see you in the postseason, and we might see Cliff Lee, and We're not going to roll over.
One of the better pitching performances I've seen in Game 1 of the World Series last year, and I really couldn't figure out how he was doing it, but he made it look easy going through this lineup.
The 0-2. You might say, well, how does he have 103 pitches? Well, he's thrown at least 20 pitches in every inning, and in the second inning it was over 30. So you're not long for this world when you do that.
He only threw 82 pitches in his last start, 4 1/3 in Texas, and that was that game against Cliff Lee.
One, two. In the count, 2-2.
This is, if you'll remember, with Bosch with bases loaded, he got him to swing at a curveball in the dirt for strike 3, and it seems like he's going after it again.
You know, we talked about that 2-0 Tampa Bay lead. Cliff Lee walked Carlos Pena tonight. Big deal? Yeah, it's the first left-hander he's walked all year. Whenever he walks anybody, it's a big deal. His strikeout to walk ratio is the best in the last 110 years of baseball. When the Yankees were in town, I believe it was 15-1, and the best that anyone had ever done was 11-1. Two. Foul back and out of play.
The look says it all, doesn't it? It was probably his best fastball in on the hands of Bosch, and he was able to fight it off. Got to find a way to execute another 2-2 pitch. The very dangerous Cabrera waiting on deck.
Two. Grounded to second. Cano will get Bosch, and Vasquez gets through 4 innings. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man left on base. We go. Tigers pitchers to win both the MVP and the Cy Young Award in the same season. You said you don't want, Paul.
Got me Danny McLean, right?
And then Willie Hernandez, the closer.
Wow.
In 1984. There's Nick Swisher. And that was the year that McLean won 31 games. 2-5-0 for the Tigers, 0-1-0 for the Ants. He takes something off when he throws that hard. You are way out in front to count 0-2.
I don't know, Flash. Can a closer win an MVP? Huh? I mean,
you would think Mariano Rivera would be on that
list. He's the most dominant I've ever seen. He's never won an MVP. How can a closer win an MVP and a Cy Young?
Well, there are some voters that don't believe that you can win both, even starters, that they won't vote for both. They feel that the Cy Young is the pitcher's MVP. Yeah. But that's not the way it's listed, though. You can actually be voted on for both. You'd both have to agree, though, maybe you don't. Since he came up at the end of '95, he's the most valuable Yankee during this stretch of 5 championships.
No question.
There's no doubt. I've said it many times. We wouldn't have the rings that we have today without Mariano. I mean, those outs and the way it's not the 3 outs, it's 6 outs in the World Series and the playoffs. I mean, he just owns the end of the game. It puts so much pressure on the other team because of what he's done.
I think his most valuable year was when he pitched 2 innings a game in '96. When he was a setup for Wetland, because Tom Kelly said it best. The Twins manager said, if you're not ahead of them after 6, you have no chance. He turned a 9-inning game into a 6-inning game.
And it was funny because that year Wetland was our closer, but you were much more relaxed in the 7th and 8th inning with Mariano in there, because Wetland would come in, walk somebody, give up a hit, he'd get out of it. But it was, it was exciting. It was never 1, 2, 3.
Swing and a miss. Swisher down on strikes.
Now all of a sudden the slider is going to be a big pitch second time through the order. We've already seen the changeup and the fastball. It's a pretty tough pitch right here, down and in, and Nick Swisher swings right over the top. Yes, Mo, you'll see that good rotation, tight spin. Maybe you don't see the spin, Paul. That's why he swings right over the top.
It had a good break on it. I mean, and it was sharp. It wasn't a big old slurve. It was a big, sharp breaking ball right at the end. And I tell you what, you've got to be happy if you're the Tigers organization looking at this guy throw, what he's becoming.
Teixeira fouls it away, so the count 1-1. Teixeira has 86 runs batted in, but he also has 86 runs scored. And that's the best mark in the major leagues. Just to nail down that point about 96, the Yankees were 70-3 when they led after 6 innings in 1996. 70-3. Now, you see that stat a lot. Well, they're 70-1 leading after 8. That's a different story. That's 9 outs you'd had to get, and they were 70-3.
Yeah, there's a lot of game left. I mean, that's a third of the game where, a lot can happen towards the end of the game. Look at how many games since '96 the Yankees have won from the 6th inning on. I mean, it's probably close to 100. I mean, there's a lot of games, and Mariano had his stamp on a lot of them.
The 1-2, high pop-up. Peralta, and the ball is dropped. Teixeira's going for second. Nobody's there. Guillen and Peralta kept looking at each other. Then the ball eventually fell.
You see Jim Leyland. I mean, you can put up with that if you've got rookie second baseman, rookie shortstop every once in a while. But that's 2 veteran players. Like Peralta took his eye off the ball. You're the shortstop. You call that ball. You should have.
Let's take a look at this on the IOTV HD Super Shot. That scored an E6, by the way. And it just pops out of the glove. And it's kind of impressive that Mark Teixeira's at second base and then racing against Scherzer to get there. And Yankee fans and Met fans will remember another time that Teixeira did that on the Alex Rodriguez pop-up to Luis Castillo. He ended up scoring. And he kind of did slow down there, but then when he saw it Trout. Now, it makes sense. You could say, well, he didn't run hard all the way. He ran hard to first, and then you have to slow down at first to see if anybody is at second. If you're just running head down, then that's not the right thing to do either. So he did play that the right way. He slowed down because you slowed down at first.
Yeah, and then when you see the middle infielders out in the outfield, both of them going for the pop-up, nobody's at second base, you could take advantage.
We'll see if the Yankees do take advantage now. The 2-0 upstairs. Does this unnerve the young pitcher? Coasting along. That's the Tigers' 80th error this year. In comparison, the Yankees have 52. And the least errors of any team in the American League, the Minnesota Twins, in the 40s. They turned him loose on 3-0. Twins have 47 errors.
You know, with the injuries we talked about, they just don't score enough runs to be given that many outs, especially to a team, the caliber of the Yankees. You give up extra outs, you give up extra runs, you usually lose.
Chased a high fastball, count 3-2.
Isn't this where you pay attention to a young pitcher, too? A pop-up that's dropped. He comes right back behind in the count 3-0 to Alex Rodriguez. 2 fastballs helped him out a little bit, but not shying away from contact, going right at Alex Rodriguez.
Three-two. Fouled away.
Tell you what, Flash, I mean, he's still got life on that fastball. You saw that 2 fastballs by him and then fouled off the other way. If you have the ability as a hitter right here, you just have to give up on the slider and the changeup and know that you've got to catch up to that fastball. If he makes a slider for a strike, you're an out.
Just got a piece to stay alive.
That shows me something. A little 3-2 changeup down and in. Alex Rodriguez actually a nice job of hitting by fouling it off. This is a perfect pitch right where he wanted to throw it, down and in. Nice job by Alex Rodriguez.
Rodriguez battling.
That's a tough pitch right there. A little sidearm, 93 miles an hour on the outside corner. He's got him set up for so many pitches, but the only problem is it's a full count. And, if you're the catcher, if you're 0-2 right here, you're looking pretty good. At a 3-2 count with a man on second base, don't want to give him too much, but he has gone after Alex Rodriguez after being down 3-0 in the count.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Teixeira at second with 1 out. 3-2. Popped up.
Changeup.
Brennan Bosch makes the play for the second out. So he was down 3-0 in the count, came back after a long battle to get Rodriguez to pop up the right field.
We'll see if we can finish off this inning, Paul. Again, you see the 3-2 changeup, which shows me something. He has the confidence he can throw it for a strike, but also trying to pick up his teammates here. A lot of times you see a young pitcher, something goes wrong behind them, they'll fall apart. Not in that at bat.
Give him a little breather here. That was a tough at bat. It's funny because I would have had the same reaction if I was Alex Rodriguez. Slammed the bat down. You missed a 3, but from up here, I can look at that as a really good at bat. He fouled off a lot of tough pitches. He made a good 3-2 changeup to him, just missed it. So much easier to say that was a good at bat with an out. And when you're playing, you want to get a hit every single time up.
Rick Knapp with a quick trip to the mound. Hey, traveling this season? Take the Yankees with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Yankees game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Yankees.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. So here's Cano, who got A fastball in on the hands that he grounded to second in the second. And that time it's away and count 1-0. Cano has just 2 RBIs this month. So he has 73 ribbies on the season. Yankees have not had a good August. They're 6-8. Count 2-0.
You know, for the first time, if you look at it, the Yankees this month have lost the close games. The 1-0, the 3-2, the 4-3. So even the games they're losing now, you know, they're just kind of in a mediocre stage of the season where, you know, when they're winning the close games, they're always going to win, you know, the big games where they throw up big numbers.
Oh, strike. The count 2-1.
It's a tough call there. 2-0. Fastball looked like it was down and away. Todd Tickner, home plate umpire. Ooh.
Yeah, that's, I mean, as a hitter, that's the one that really frustrates you because 3-0 and 2-1 is just a completely different game.
Now it's 3-1. Now to back up Paul's point, 6 of the Yankees' last 7 games have been decided by 1 run, and the Yankees are 2-4 in those 6 games. Posada on deck.
I mean, I made a good point, Martin.
Excellent point. Not even good. Excellent.
Yeah. Far beyond what you expected.
Oh, yeah. 3-1. Knocked the mask off the catcher.
Bring back good memories, Flash. Like a foul ball right off the nose piece.
Yeah, we say it looks a lot worse than it actually is. Like you said, easy to say that from up here.
That doesn't hurt.
Not bad. Not bad.
Looks like it hurts, doesn't it, Mike?
Well, John's tough as nails.
Yeah. That's why I didn't like to catch. I was glad I was left-handed.
(3-2). Tries to pull an outside pitch and dribbles it slowly to first. And did he get the bag? Yes, he did, to get Cano for the final out. So he picks up his teammates after the E6 and gets Cano on the changeup. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. We played 4.
Pena takes over. We'll show his last swing and see if we can pick anything up. The 3-2 changeup down and in. Alex frustrated, slams the bat. Ooh, looks like something might have happened right there coming out of the box. Little wince.
You think after he slammed the bat or something with his leg, John?
Calf, I think I just saw him say.
New pitcher, Cabrera, fouls off the first offering from Mitre. as Joe Girardi makes the call to the bullpen. Brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. Those are the numbers on Mitre. Decent numbers. Fouled away.
Well, good numbers. He pitched an inning in Kansas City, but this is what he's going to be called on to do right here. A little long relief. See if he can keep the Yankees in this ball game. Javi Vasquez, a gutsy 4 innings, really did not have anything tonight. Felt like it could have been a whole lot worse.
Definitely kept the Yankees in the game. Made some big pitches and got out of some jams where he could have given up a lot more runs. And again, I think he'll be the first to tell you that he didn't have control of his slider, left it up in the zone a lot. Didn't have his good fastball again.
4 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts somehow, and 3 walks, 106 pitches he threw. The 1-2. A lot of foul balls today, and that builds up pitch counts.
Fans are loving it, though. A lot of souvenirs.
And the 1-2 to Cabrera. Chop towards short. Charging Jeter. And the throw pulls Teixeira off the bag, and Cabrera running hard. Beats it out. That should be an E6. Boy, in past years, you didn't see Cabrera busting it like that down the line. He really hustled here.
The throw comes up the line. Mark Teixeira comes off to try to make the play in the swipe tag, but Cabrera has already passed him. Earlier in his career, he would not be hustling down the line, but that's not a problem tonight.
Well, it takes a couple of those. You see that Stevie Donahue probably told the manager exactly what was wrong with A-Rod. Saw Joe Girardi's reaction.
Fly ball, shallow left, coming on as Gardner for the first time. By the way, that error by Jeter snaps a 52-game streak without an error, and that was the longest such streak in his career, and the longest in the majors this season. So 1 errant throw.
See, it's a routine play. He comes in, maybe just works underneath it, a little slice on the ball, throwing it over there, and Mark Teixeira tries to apply the tag. Cabrera's just past him. Frustrating error.
Well, you see Cabrera run like that, and your best guess is that what happened at the end of last year woke him up, where he wasn't going to take things for granted. He got into some trouble in the last series against the Twins where they had a win, and he said, I'm going to be a better person, I'm going to be a better player, and it certainly happened.
I think you saw on your screen what woke him up. But Jim Leland is he's a motivator, he's a great manager, he's won. And he's been very good for a lot of players. Looks like Cabrera being one of them.
Could not hold up on the breaking ball. The count 0-2.
He's seen a lot of baseball, hasn't he, Flash?
Old school. Not afraid to say what he's feeling either.
No.
The 0-2 to Rayburn. Strike 3. He is down looking. Rayburn's done the only damage in this game. His 2-run home run in the second, but he goes down on strikes for the second out.
Sergio Mitre looks good early on. A nice backdoor sinker. Had a good curveball. Yankees, Joe Girardi, Dave Island hoping for a little middle relief here. Keep this ball game at 2-0.
Brandon Inge. And there's a strike on the breaking ball.
I always felt those middle relievers kind of get the short end of the stick. You know, they're like the last guy on the staff. Nobody really pays attention to them until they come in a ball game like this where your starter struggles. Really settle a ball game down in the middle innings, 5th, 6th inning.
A lot of times the middle relievers get into a lot of games that are out of hand. I mean, from a starter that's given up a lot of runs, but I mean, this is a game right here, you know, 2-0. You got to figure that the Yankees, after being shut out yesterday, are going to break through for a couple here, get back into this game.
Grounded foul. Close game, though. You also have to weigh, all of a sudden, your cleanup hitter and the league's leading RBI guy is out of the game, and now Ramiro Pena is batting cleanup for the Yankees. We'll see if that comes back to bite the Yankees, and we're waiting to find out what happened to Alex.
Hate to see, I mean, some of the better swings tonight. Even, you know, A-Rod have had some of the better swings with the Yankees. 3 home runs the other day. He's going through a period right now. I mean, he can do a lot of damage in a short period of time. You hate to see it if he has to stay out a couple days.
Everybody wanted that one on the Yankee side, but Todd Tickner's strike zone has been a little erratic.
We've talked a lot about him through 5 innings in this ball game. It's a changeup.
Where it goes, and it's ball 4.
Gosh, how sure are you catching on or off the corner, you know, that couple inches? How sure are you as a catcher?
You're not real sure. What you're sure of is if you set up on a corner and you actually catch the ball where you want it, and you center it on your body, and you know it looks good to the umpire, that's when you want the call.
Right.
I think that changeup right there, Cervelli setting up off the plate, he had to reach for it a little bit, and it's a tough one to argue.
And there's a strike to Peralta. Missed inside, just missed him. One. High fly ball, right field. Swisher has plenty of room, and he's going to put it away for the final out. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 2 men left. At the end of 4.5, we're halfway through. Tigers up by 2. 2-0. Max Scherzer has allowed just one Yankee hit, and that was to Curtis Granderson, leading off the third inning. And Granderson's on deck as Jorge Posada leads off, and featuring that breaking ball a lot more now, second time through the order, and the count 0-1.
He has really gone these last couple innings, a lot of off-speed pitches. Still right there, you see he's got his good fastball. Every once in a while you wonder if teams are going through slumps or if the pitching's good. And in my mind, I didn't see the game yesterday. In my mind tonight, the pitching's that good. Scherzer's been good.
They're two totally different feeling ball games. Yesterday, you felt like the Yankees were going to get the starter in Kansas City. I mean, he wasn't overpowering. Brian Bullington had the game of his life, but it was pretty much 90-92. Nice sinker, little slider, changeup, but you felt like the Yankees were going to break through. I feel like in this game they got to get this kid out of here, get that pitch count up, and get into the bullpen.
Bullington was one of only 2 pitchers in the history of baseball that were drafted #1 that had not won a game. And now the only pitcher that remains that had been drafted #1, Brian Taylor of the Yankees. Many people thought was going to be a great player, but ended up having his career derailed by an off-the-field fight where he hurt his shoulder, and that one was caught by Austin Jackson. One away.
I faced him in spring training. I remember Buck Showalter. You know, you go to spring training and you hit off your own pitchers. And I was on deck, and Buck walked over me, and he's like, "You really don't want to hit off this guy." And I didn't really know much about him, and then I saw him launch a couple to the top of the screen. I said, "No, not really." So go get your work in the outfield real quick. Come back here later.
Yeah, he threw 98 miles an hour.
98 with just a little inconsistency with his release point, which made it all over the place.
Such an awful story. I mean, had his whole career ahead of him, and then just a scuffle that he had on a dirt road in North Carolina and completely destroyed his shoulder. Never to be heard from again. He tried to come back, but just couldn't do it. Count 2-1.
You know, with all the passings that has gone along with the Yankees this year and all the heartache, and you see the black patch on the Tigers, the EH, Ernie Harwell, one of the most likable announcers, most likable baseball people I think I ever met. Used to love to go in early and listen to him tell stories. Love to talk baseball.
Real gentleman of the game. The 3-1. And Granderson seems to be the only problem that Scherzer is having as he walks. Ernie is the Tigers, and the Tigers are Ernie. Traded for a player. The only announcer ever traded for a player. I think the Atlanta Crackers needed a catcher, and the Brooklyn Dodgers sent them one for Ernie. He called Bobby Thompson's home run. That's a call that you don't hear. You hear Chuck Thompson's. Not Chuck Thompson. Why does that name escape me? Anyway, Tigers broadcaster from 60 to 91. Then they ill-advisedly let him go, and he came back.
Michael, I'd love one time that when you can't think of a name that I can just throw it out there for you.
Well, please help me here because
you help me out so much when I butcher up some of these stories, but I have no clue who we're talking about.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
The Giants win the pennant. The Giants, that was the call.
I've heard that.
Russ Hodges.
See, there. See, I wrote it down for you. See that?
Russ Hodges.
Was he a New York announcer?
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, the Giants announcer, I don't think he would have been that excited with
yeah. I don't know.
The Dodgers.
It's pretty big.
Count 2-0. And now Avila wants to calm down his youngster. Okay, let's get back in this. This chiropractic telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Who's your favorite announcer, Michael?
You.
No, I mean all time. Red Barber. I mean, who
Vin
was
Scully.
it? Vin Scully.
The 2-0. How about you, Joe Nuxhall?
Well, Joe Nuxhall was really good. I mean, in Cincinnati, that was the voice. But, you know, growing up in an era and then here Saturday night, you'd have This Week in Baseball and Mel Allen. I can still hear his voice. Just you knew who it was when he was talking.
The 3-0. Now, here in New York, I think every kid would say it's Marv Albert. He works for us at the Yes Network, does the net games, and just a legendary voice. And everybody has a Marv invitation, and they didn't do baseball. Well, he did some baseball, but not known for baseball, known more for basketball, did football and boxing. But in terms of baseball, Frank Messer, Bill Rizzuto, and Bill White, those three. Other than my father, those were the male voices in my house.
Is that right?
Yep.
You steal any of their lines, or are these all yours?
Oh, blame me. The 3-1. Popped up, shallow center. Austin Jackson covers a lot of ground in a hurry to retire Cervelli. And Francisco now 4 for his last 26, and they're 2 away.
Yeah, frustrating because he got ahead in the count 3-0 at a fastball to hit and still got jammed. I heard a lot about Jackson in center field covering ground. He made that play look easy.
Well, I don't know if you've seen Detroit's home field, but I mean it's 420-some feet to dead center field. So that's one thing as a Tiger, you know you need to have is speed in center field. I mean that's a ballpark. It's not a hitter's ballpark, and then you need somebody to run them down. Probably one of the better plays all year is that play he made for Galarraga in that no hitter.
Yep. Boy, is he shallow for Gardner right now. Runner goes, throw to second. They got him. So Granderson gunned down by Avila to end the inning. Strong throw. Got a decent jump, look back, and the throw right there. And Peralta puts the tag on. We played 5. It's 2-0 Tigers. Trusted GE Capital, we prove that every day.
Well, we just saw it. Alex Avila, strong throw behind the plate. He's got a good pitch to throw on, a fastball up, but it doesn't get any better to this. Right to Peralta. Nice tag to Peralta. Nice partner play.
We go to the 6th inning. It's 2-0, and here is the Tiger catcher. Swings at the first pitch and grounds at the second. 1 away. 2-0 Tigers over the Yanks. Now the Tigers, the last 2 games against the White Sox, trailing in the 8th inning, won both of those games. And that's the first time they've done that since back in 1975. A long stretch. And they did that against the Baltimore Orioles in April of that year, the end of April.
That elbow pad that's like sewn into his elbow, his little guard here. I mean, it looks like the Dwayne Wade gear that he wore in the NBA last year. Kind of a good idea if you're a hitter, if you don't want to wear the the shin guard looking thing.
I'm just thinking about Johnny Damon's statement that this kid's the best center fielder in the American League. It's a bold statement. Some pretty good ones out there.
Look at that flash. Pretty cool, huh?
Looped into right field, coming on. Swisher can't make the play. Like he lost it in the lights for a moment. So Austin Jackson reaches on a single.
Yeah, you just, I mean, you get a great jump on the ball. You know you're going to have to hit the deck. And as you go down to catch the ball, it brings it into the lights. And you see right there, it's just lost. It comes out late. Not much you can do. Bad feeling as an outfielder. Good thing is he drew some leather on it, kept it from rolling to the wall.
Now Jackson is a threat to steal. Here's Damon. And that scored a base hit for Jackson. Funny how baseball trades are, any kind of trades. You're always going to judge them. You want to judge them immediately, and Granderson and Jackson are going to be hooked up as people compare the two of them. And when Jackson got off to that great start at the beginning, oh, how could you have traded him? Come back down to earth a bit, but the Tigers are happy with the deal. Runner goes, a throw to second. It is not in time. The ball actually fell right at his feet. And a stolen base for Jackson.
We've seen Cervelli do this a little bit lately. Yesterday in Kansas City had a bad throw, and it's the same thing. Just being a little too quick behind the plate. You rush your throw, and then you have a little slice from left to right.
He's holding his helmet on there. Doesn't want to lose his helmet.
Right in the chest. See the flight of the ball. Cervelli coming out real quick. You can see it gets away from Derek Jeter up the line.
Kind of a dangerous throw when you tail that ball as a catcher. There, you know, the shortstop has to reach for that ball right into the runner.
Popped up. Pena is there for the second out. Time for another look at tonight's Toyota Text Ball. Once again, the question: among Johnny Damon's biggest moments with the Yankees, what was your favorite? You've been texting us at 58772, and here's how you voted. Overwhelmingly, you like the 2 stolen bases on 1 play in the World Series.
I think you insinuated we were going to have a landslide tonight, right?
I thought that would be, and here's a look at that play. Steals second, and then takes off and beats Pedro Feliz, who had no chance. No one was covering third. And that will always be one of the hallmarks of that World Series. Breaking ball is low to Bosch. Top of the 6th, 2-0 Tigers. Count 1-1.
Heard so much about Bosch, and he's been struggling lately. Still hitting .275 with 14. Tells you how hot he was early on in the year.
You know, you see young kids come up and they get off to great starts, and all of a sudden they start to struggle. And it's really the first time that he's probably ever struggled for an extended period at the major league level, obviously. But it's an adjustment, and it becomes a mental game. And like I said, I think Jim Leyland did a great thing by flip-flopping him in the lineup, putting him ahead of Cabrera, who's one of the better hitters in the league. And you see that, you know, with the great start that he had, it still puts him in the top ranks of all the rookies in the American League.
I think, Paul, you said it perfectly. The mental grind, you know, the mental struggles that you go through as a young player. Mind starts playing games on you. Am I that good where I was that type of a player? Am I ever going to get a hit again? They figured me out. What do I do?
You thought those same things? I thought I was the only one to think those things. And, you know, it doesn't seem like a lot, but the 140 games scheduled to 162 games to the Major League level, it is a big difference. And, you know, the travel's better, the ballparks are better, but there's more pressure on every bat. There's more grind and trying to perform well at this level day in and day out, and it wears on you.
Slow roller up the first baseline, grabbed by Cervelli, and they get the out. They avoid having to pitch to Miguel Cabrera. No runs to hit, no errors, one man left. We go to the bottom of the sixth, 2-0. By Mazda, Zoom Zoom, by Blimpie, America's Sub Shop, and by Acura Advance. Yankees trail 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the sixth. Brett Gardner was at the plate when Curtis Granderson got gunned down trying to steal second, so he has a fresh count. Yes, you would look good on Yes. And don't call me Mr. K, that's my dad.
Tough guy. The guy's 6 years old. You're calling out right there.
You can call me Michael.
Oh,
It's a big piece of poster board. You see that?
That's right. It took him hours to draw that.
Now, see, John's making a big head comment there.
I just said it was a big piece of poster board.
The 0-2. Foul back.
The Yankees need to get something going here. You feel like they get Brett Gardner on, maybe a little speed. The troops fired up. 98 pitches for Scherzer.
Flash earlier in the game, you said that their best opportunity might be to get him out of the game. So obviously, you know, it doesn't look like he's going to go 9. So keep fouling those balls off. Get into that bullpen. See what happens there.
Well, he has thrown 123 pitches in a game this year. Usually somewhere from 100 to 110, 115, pretty much the average.
Missed inside.
I'll tell you what, he hasn't lost anything. He's still got good pop on that fastball. He has mixed in his changeup the last 2 or 3 innings. Very limited on the breaking ball, but that's something he can go to too. Right there.
High fly ball, fairly deep center. Drifting back Jackson for the first out. That's going to bring up Derek Jeter. Last time on, Jeter banged into a 5-5-3 double play. And the only inning, the Yankees had 2 runners on base, first and second with 1 out. As a team, the Yankees are now 3 for their last 43. Remember, they got shut out 1-0 yesterday in KC.
He's going to his breaking ball there, and that one looked like it went around the plate. You know, as a hitter, you're looking dead fastball. You haven't seen a breaking ball from him probably in Derek's case, and all of a sudden he throws one that goes around the plate, strike one. A lot of times as a player, you really don't have to say anything. You just kind of walk around, let that umpire know you didn't agree with him. Flash would be yelling at me, get back in the box.
Remember, my favorite line to the umpires playing against the Yankees: don't let O'Neill do that to you. Don't let him do that to you.
What is this friendly talk?
You think the umpires hated you, Paul?
No. I think I had a couple that weren't my best friends, but for the most part, I had conversations. I had better conversations when they were on the bases than they were when they were behind home plate. You know who I saw the other night? I was in Cincinnati at the Reds game, and Doug Harvey came up to the box. And first thing I said, Doug, I remember when you called out a few times, just, you know, to say hi to him in a joke. And he said, well, it wasn't my fault. You had the bat. But inducted in the Hall of Fame this year.
Austin Kearns on deck. You wonder, does something happen to Nick Swisher?
You know, it's amazing to me to look around at this stadium and see this many people, and you don't realize.
There's a base hit to center.
Until now, I was just going to say, with no offense, it does not bring the crowd into the game. And, you know, this base hit right here might be the start.
That's only the second hit for the Yankees. And now Kearns is going to pinch hit for Swisher, who has struck out twice against Scherzer.
He tried to run that ball back in on Derek, and it didn't quite get to the inside corner. Jeet quick enough to fight his hands in, drive it up the middle.
Yankees are a little short, by the way, on the bench right now. And you'll see how.
See that ball's supposed to end up in, and Jeet just fights it off the middle, up the middle. Good piece of hitting.
A-Rod's already out of the game. Pena's at third. Now Austin Kearns pinch hitting for Swisher. And we're not quite sure about the availability of Berkman, who has a sprained ankle after a collision at first base in yesterday's game.
Day-to-day is the way it was described. I saw him after the game. He actually looked like he was walking okay on that ankle.
That play, and you'll see it right here. I'm surprised the pitcher didn't have his Achilles ripped.
Oh.
Well, Bullington was okay, and Berkman kind of limped off. Check swing, slow roller. And Scherzer takes the sure out as Jeter moves to second.
Flash, you know, you come to the ballpark, you put in 2 hours of fly balls, batting practice, extra work, and you get a pinch hit, and you hit a check swing 15 hopper to the pitcher. It's frustrating at bat. Not much you can do as a hitter. Try to stop your swing. End up putting it in play.
I mentioned a tough angle from Scherzer. They're standing on the right side of the mound. It's a right-handed batter, ball riding up and in.
Quick check by Rick Knapp. Tomorrow's starting pitchers brought to you by Fios TV, Internet, and Phone. It's time for Fios. And nice matchup. Really nice. Justin Verlander, one of the best, against CC Sabathia, one of the best. Our coverage begins at 6:30 on Yes. The game is actually going to be on My 9 at 7 o'clock. CeCe has a chance at his second Cy Young.
Justin Verlander, when he's at his best, he's got as good stuff as anybody. Throwing the high 90s, great curveball.
Works fast, really attacks the strike zone. You know, you feel like he's all on top of you when he's starting. How quick he works, that power fastball.
Now first base is open, and you've got Ramiro Pena on deck, not Alex Rodriguez. Yankees kind of landlocked on the bench as Berkman, and as John said, day to day we don't know if he's available today, and you also have Marcus Timms. But they're going right after Teixeira.
Still got plenty on the fastball, 95 miles an hour. It's 113th pitch.
Swing and a miss. 97 on what is probably his last pitch of the night. That's impressive, finishing up with that. Yankees strand one, down 2-0. Lead the Yankees 2-0 and make Yankee fans feel a little bit better. Top of the sixth inning in St. Pete, and Texas leads Tampa Bay 3-2. That was an impressive last pitch by Max Scherzer. Probably his fastest pitch of the night, Paul. 97 miles an hour, blew it right past him.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, I think a pitcher can see the finish line. He had great stuff all night. I mean, he used his fastball, used his changeup through the middle of the game, went back to his fastball late. He probably ended up with his hardest fastball of the night to end his night.
We were talking about maybe he would pitch around Mark Teixeira with Pena on deck. He went back-to-back fastballs. Last one, 97.
Miguel Cabrera with a 1-0 count against Sergio Mitre in his third inning of work. And that got a piece of Cervelli. So we're still waiting on word about A-Rod, and now why was Swisher lifted? We're waiting on word about him as well.
We see Cervelli take a foul ball. He's in a little pain. Jorge Posada, the DH tonight. A lot for Joe Girardi to think about.
Slow roller up the third baseline, fielded by Pena. Off balance throw, and they get Cabrera for the first out. That's a very nice play by Ramiro Pena. Let's see how they went at Cabrera, and we'll take a look at it with a pitch-by-pitch brought to you by Suzuki Kizashi.
Well, Mitre has a good sinker, tries to run one back on the outside corner, doesn't get it. Another one down the middle, foul ball gets Cervelli. He goes 3 in a row, and you can see Cabrera did not get out of the box in good shape. He tries to hustle down the line, but Pena makes a nice play.
And now Kerry Wood, who's pitched well since coming over from the Indians, begins to throw, and the first pitch is upstairs to Guillen. Count 1-1.
There's a guy that came over from Seattle. Didn't, you know, when I was last couple of years, got a look at him in Seattle. Thought he was a pretty good player, but then, boy, he went through a time right when he came over here to Detroit, went through that playoff run, became a really, really solid player, big name player, good hitter. Team kind of rallied around him through that playoff run.
Count 1-2. Phil Koch getting ready for the Tigers, former Yankee. The 1-2. Grounded foul.
Got people around the Tigers organization raving about Phil Koch, the kind of year that he has had. Actually talking that he's had such a good year out of the bullpen, maybe a possibility of being a starter next year. They're actually throwing that conversation around.
Now, there was some rumors today with Jose Valverde a little bit under the weather that Phil Koch would close tonight, but since they have him up, he's going to pitch the 7th inning. Koch this year 7-2 with a 2.55 ERA.
Good lefties in the pen are hard to find, aren't they, Flash? Huh?
That's why a guy like Boone Logan has been such a nice find for the Yankees. 95, 96, good slider, throwing the ball over the plate. It sounds like Damaso Marte working his way back.
Big couple of days for the Yankees injury-wise with Marte and Andy Pettit, whether or not he'll be able to start moving toward the big leagues, and Jose Aceves as well.
Very frustrating time for Andy Pettit. I mean, here he was having a good all-star season. And you go down with, you know, not a major injury, but just an injury, an annoyance that just keeps you out, where you can't get back. And then, you know, the longer you're out, the longer it's going to take you to get back to that A form.
And then you also have to factor in with Andy, is it his last year? And the last thing he wants to do is waste a month and a half of his last year on the DL.
And it makes it, you know, almost, you know, when you get that September 1st, you know, in the future, it makes it real easy for the organization to not rush anything and just wait for that call.
Now, speaking of a call, Joe Girardi wants to bring in the hard-throwing Kerry Wood against Ryan Rayburn. Sergio Mitre pitched 2 2/3 shutout innings in relief. Now here's Kerry Wood. Mitre threw 42 pitches, the most that he's thrown since throwing 72 in the start against Kansas City on July 24th. You see Wood's ERA is falling as he's pitched very well for the Yankees since coming over from the Indians in the trade deadline deal. So good job by Mitre on in relief of Javier Vasquez. And here's Ryan Rayburn. He's done the damage in this game, a 2-run home run in the second off Vasquez, and that's held up so far.
A lot of times you say, a lot of pitchers will be down in Tampa and on rehab and this, and Andy's come back. I mean, he's still a valuable part because you see what happens. A lot of the younger pitchers will go to him during a game, ask questions, bounce things off him, and a lot of times the veteran pitchers, even when they're away from the game, can help.
It's such a bad feeling when you're on the disabled list, too.
Slow ground ball toward Jeter. He charges, fires, got him. Nice play by Jeter. 3 ground balls, 1 to third, 1 to second, and 1 to short as the Tigers go down in order. At the end of 6.5, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. And obviously gave up those runs early, but his team has picked them up. So we are ready for the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Yankees will face an old friend, a member of their championship team from last year, Phil Koch. And John mentioned how much they think of Koch and how well he's done, and there you see why. Less than a hit per inning, 42 strikeouts and 49 in the third, a 2.55 ERA. That's pretty good. And that'll face Pena, Cano, and Posada here in the 7th, picking up Max Scherzer. Scherzer did a great job, 6 innings, and was outstanding. And the Yankee offense continues to sputter. In the last 15 innings, just 4 hits without a run. Verizon Wireless scoreboard 2-0 Tigers. Now this is the spot that Alex Rodriguez would be in, but he left the game. We still have not heard why. Jack Curry back in the studio is tweeting that Nick Swisher left the game with a injured right forearm. We don't know how he suffered that, but he did have a forearm problem a little earlier in the year too.
Did we get tweeted about an injury?
I've tweaked an injury, but never tweeted about it. That's amazing. I go up to the studio, I hang out during the game, right? Eat some dinner, watch the game on TV. Jack's tweeting, researching, blogging.
You on Facebook, Paul?
No. My kids are. They spend a lot of time on that. Is that good?
I'm not on it. Now, is this where Swisher hurt his right forearm? It's hard to tell.
That's, you know what?
Right after that play that he left the game.
Yeah, a lot of times your thumb gets caught in that glove and it can't really move to brace yourself. And, you know, you can stretch it. You can stretch that thumb or that forearm.
Long run.
Nice
It's
play.
a foul ball. And it is caught there for the first out. Nice play.
But a big year at the plate, covering some ground here in foul territory. Nice concentration. Yes, Mo.
Yeah, the angle there. See, every once in a while, in slow motion, it even looks hard. Good play.
Here's Cano. Cano was 0 for 2 against Scherzer.
Mentioned the Yankees wanted to get Scherzer out of the game, only had 2 hits, and look into that bullpen and say, all right, at least it's a different look. Phil Koch has been hot lately, only 4 earned runs over his last 31 outings.
Hot shot to short and grabbed there by Peralta.
Flash, did you like to hit against guys you played with?
No.
Wasn't that a weird feeling the next year? Because, you know, you start, especially as a catcher, I would think that, you know, you almost call the game along with facing him because you've caught him in the past. It's just a weird thing.
I also didn't like just knowing his personality. You know, I like to face a guy and not know anything about him, just the kind of stuff that he had.
Did you also try to work up a hate for the guy on the mound?
You know, every once in a while, you just got to look out there and say, hey, it's more important for me to get a hit than you to get me out, you know, and it, yeah, I mean, you respect them for what they do. I mean, obviously they're major league pitchers, but you do have to go up there with some confidence that you want to outdo them.
Well, Koch outdid himself right there by touching that baseball on the comeback. Or Guillen or Peralta would have had an easy play, so Posada reaches and probably he scored a base hit, and it is.
Just a natural reaction. He knew right when he missed it what he probably caused was a cheap base hit for Jorge, but he's digging out of the box.
Get word on Alex now. He left the game with a tight left calf. And they're saying that he is day to day. And now the Yankees are announcing that Swisher left with tightness in his right forearm.
The tweet was correct.
I guess the tweet was correct.
See, Granderson's made some work for Robbie Kakuza tonight with the laundry detergent.
Out of the stadium on the front of his uniform.
It's like one of the old-fashioned guys, the old flannel ones when they get that dirty, don't they?
A lot of talk about what he has done against lefties this year and coming into this year. Had 2 hits against Bruce Chen in Kansas City with those new mechanics. See if he can continue against Koch.
And he does. Hot shot down the right field line. Posada around second will go to third. Played out there by Bosch. Granderson stops at second. Posada at third. Yankees second and third with 2 men out.
You know, that's a quick swing for Granderson against a lefty. I mean, when you pick up a lefty and you're able to turn on it like he does here, Koch leaves it up in the zone, and Granderson, that's an easy pitch for a lefty to get under and pop up, that he absolutely ripped it, turned on it. Good swing.
Well, you like Paul. He went the other way his first at bat, and you're right, quick enough to pull a fastball in the right field corner. And the hands are moved back and closer to his body, and it's just shortened his swing. Look at that knob first, bat head second, and the swing going out towards the field. Good extension. Doesn't get much better than that, Paul.
Yes. Well, Jim Leyland is going to take Koch out despite the fact that Gardner's on deck, because the next batter is a righty, Cervelli, and he wants to bring in a righty to match up with the Yankee catcher. When we get back, we'll see how it goes. Fox Business Network for its State of Sports special. Sports business execs Randy Levine, Jerry Jones, Jonathan Kraft, and Sal Galatiotto break down the business behind their respective brands and delve into the future. It's all new Friday at 11. It's only on Yes. Ryan Perry is the new pitcher for the Tigers. And you see the numbers on Perry. More than a hit per inning. 31 strikeouts, but opponents just 3 for 19 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position against Perry this year. Cervelli swings and misses. Yankees have the tying runs on base, and the tying run is in scoring position at second.
You saw early in the year, Cervelli had so much, confidence with men in scoring position. He was dead up the middle, ground the ball up the middle, did a real good job. You see that first breaking ball looked like he flew open, looking to pull. Totally different approach he had early in the year.
Grounded to second in the third, flied out to center in the fifth. He is 1 for his last 12 and 4 for his last 26. His average now at 245. Nice block there by Avila. Big moment in the game with 2 outs. Posada chops one off the glove of Koch. Then Granderson rips one down the right field line for a double. His second hit of the game. He's 2 for 2 with a walk. So the Yankees have a chance now to tie this game. The 1-1. And they won't do it. Ground ball to Peralta. And Cervelli is out, and that will do it. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. We go to the 8th. It's 2-0 Tigers. Text your vote to 58772. You can vote online at yesnetwork.com. Tonight's candidates are number 1, Max Scherzer, number 2, Ryan Rayburn, number 3, Carlos Guillen, and number 4, Sergio Mitre. Vote now, make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply. Kerry Wood got the final out of the 7th, in there to start the 8th, and he deals high to Brandon Inge. 2-0. The Rayburn home run is holding up. That was in the 2nd inning. Cervelli, who was so great with runners in scoring position, has certainly come down to earth, and maybe the league has caught on when a young player plays a lot, which he did early. They start to scout him a little bit more and find the hole. And now he's under 245. There's a strike. John, have you liked what you've seen of Wood?
Well, you know, we saw his first outing in Tampa, and, you know, he was kind of all over the place, but you liked the way the ball was coming out of his hand. Good velocity, good cutter. And we mentioned during that game when we saw that Dave Island, the pitching coach, would probably watch him a little bit, just get a feel for him, what he's all about. And I talked to Dave in Kansas City, and he said he made a little adjustment, getting his arm a little higher and his hand away from his ear, and all of a sudden he's gotten locked in. Right around the strike zone now with 3 quality pitches. The curveball's gotten better.
Doesn't throw as hard as he used to, but certainly throws hard enough.
Love the way he carries himself on the mound, too. Got a presence about him.
Wood's last 4 outings before tonight, 5 1/3, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. So the count full on Brandon Inge, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. He swings at the 3-2 and lofts it to right center for the first out. So how do we get to 2-0 here? And this is the way we get to 2-0. 2-6-1, leading 0-4-1. Scherzer was great in his 6 innings as a starter. Vasquez struggled, but certainly didn't give up the farm by any stretch. And the only thing he did give up was a 2-run home run to Ryan Rayburn in the 2nd inning. Alex Rodriguez has left the game with a calf issue, and Nick Swisher with a forearm. So 2 of the Yankees' most productive players are out as Johnny Peralta swings and misses. See, the unusual spelling for the first name, Johnny, was just misspelled on the birth certificate, and they decided to not correct it. Cervelli held that one, didn't get the strike call. Count 1-2.
You know, Flash, earlier in the game we were talking about those pitchers that come out of spring training and they're on the pitch counts and they get off to a great start. And as a manager, you're afraid to take them out. And you look at a prime example right here, Kerry Wood, through that one game in early April where he had 20 strikeouts against the, I think it was Houston Astros. And a lot of people say that, you know, he was never the same after that. I mean, he's had arm problems. But, you know, again, you see he still has a good breaking ball. Prior, another young phenom that came up with the Cubs, both had unbelievable stuff. Both of them ended up with a lot of injuries.
Johnny Peralta's probably saying, I didn't see that when I played behind you in Cleveland. So he goes down looking on the breaking ball. Bad news for the Yankees as Tampa Bay has retaken that lead against Texas. It's now 6-4 bottom of the 8th. So if Tampa Bay wins and the Yankees lose, it's a tie atop the American League East. The Red Sox are idle tonight.
They're on their way where? Are they playing?
I think they're coming home because they were in Yankee Stadium and then Texas, so. They'll be hosting the Angels tomorrow at Fenway. How about your old buddy, Buck Showalter, turning around the O's?
Doing a good job, too, right? I saw a couple of his press conferences. They haven't changed much. the team has turned it around.
Strike.
You know as well as I do, Michael, that one of the most detailed managers you'll ever come through any kind of baseball, minor league, major league, anything. And he probably has walked in there and given a lot of those kids, just insight on whether you're going to be here or here next year. So this guy's got a lot to fight for right now.
He's got a piece of the umpire. Todd Tickner, yep, left hand.
They blame you for that, Flash?
I'm sure he's not real happy. Those umpires like when catchers keep it in front.
Avila is 0 for 2 with a walk, 3-2. And he walks again.
You go back to Buck Showalter. I mean, what a tough position to rebuild a team in the American League East. I mean, it's a great baseball city, great baseball park, pretty good tradition. But, I mean, you've got 3 teams now. It's not just the Yankees and the Red Sox anymore. Now you've got the Rays and, 3 quality teams to try to compete with as you're rebuilding.
Here's Austin Jackson. There's a strike. Although Buck could look at it this way, and I think he might have. Anything he does, he looks like a genius, because everybody expects them not to be able to compete. They haven't for all these years. They've been under 500.
Paul, you talk about all the information that he gives and how prepared he is. You think maybe that's a little too much sometimes, especially for a young team?
You know what? I used to really appreciate it. But as the year goes on, sometimes it does become a little bit too much. But I was a guy that was really into, preparing for the game, so I kind of loved it. But on the other hand, guys, especially veteran players that were kind of into their own routine, used to kind of resent it at times. But I love playing for the guy. I thought Buck did a good job in this year.
0-2. Popped up. Long run for Teixeira toward the stands. Runs out of room. Well, I thought the best comment from an Oriole came from Adam Jones, the center fielder. He goes, "We're afraid of him. We don't want to mess up."
And back then there were scouting reports, obviously, but now there's so many things.
Much.
The inside pitch and the inside. There's so many stats and charts that you can do on everybody. It almost becomes too much to the point where you got to go out and play the game.
Well, that's what I always worried about with a young pitcher, getting too much information where his mind gets cluttered when he's out there competing.
Count 0-2 on Jackson. Jackson has struck out 124 times this year, and he struck out in the first inning. And now the count 1-2. That's the one thing in his game that the Tigers aren't elated by. He's leadoff hitter. You don't want him to strike out that much and just hit 12 home runs. But as he identifies the strike zone more, he'll be better.
The one thing they do like.
And by the way, it's 1 home run. It's not 12. I'm sorry.
They say that the ball really travels. Like, he doesn't ever try to get out front and pull the ball. He lets it travel and get deep. That tells me he's going to end up being a pretty productive hitter, and the strikeouts will go down. Usually you see a lot of hitters ahead of curveballs, ahead of changeups.
At Scranton Wilkes-Barre last year, Austin Jackson had 123 strikeouts, so that just might be part of his game. Buzzed him upstairs, and the count full at 3-2. If you're looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th inning, why not? Gardner, Jeter, and Kearns for the Yankees. 3-2. Driven to right field. Giving it a look is Kearns, and it's out of play. Job at Chamberlain.
You look at Jackson. I mean, he comes into this at bat hitting 302 with 120 some strikeouts. You just wonder if you cut those down, what type of average hitter this guy could be.
Three-two. 3-2 again. Just missed inside. Wood thought he had strike 3, so 2 successive walks after getting the first 2 batters. Now he has to deal with Johnny Damon. And Dave Island will go out and talk with Wood. Big batter in the game because the way the Yankees are hitting or not hitting, 2-0 seems formidable. So what would something even more than that feel? And coming up after the final out, you have to catch the W.B. Mason postgame for a recap of this first game with the Tigers, including the team's reaction from the clubhouse. Plus, get a look at the playoff race with highlights from around the league. It's all coming up on the W.B. Mason postgame. It's only on Yes.
Bob Lorenz, Jack Curry.
And Kim Jones, too.
I forgot about that.
Wow, how about that, Kim?
Man, I'm in trouble. Things are going to start flying back there.
Wow.
Wasn't on the screen, Kim. I'm sorry. Here, I'll put you on the teleprompter there with Kim.
So here's Damon after that trip out by Island. Damon is 0 for 2 in his first trip back to the stadium since Game 6 of last year's World Series, and he takes pitch inside. He's also walked twice tonight. 2-0 Tigers, top of the 8th inning. Ooh, wow. Thank goodness that screen was in front of the dugout. Somebody would have gotten smoked.
You can laugh about it with that screen, right?
It was right at that guy. Yankees didn't have screens in front of the dugout until Don Zimmer got smoked in a playoff game. And remember the old Army helmet they had the next day?
Yeah, the war helmet on the next day. It's one of my fondest memories of Zim looking over there with his helmet on.
Now notice Doug Teeter now is taking a seat, so his head is covered by the screen in the Tiger dugout. There he is as the assistant trainer. Count 2-2.
Every once in a while, you just see a pitch and it just a flashback of like, that's just nasty. That was like a cutter or slider, late movement down in on your ankle. Real easy to foul that ball off your shin. Just barrels, just keeps coming in on you.
Probably want to elevate it a little bit more, right? That down and in to a lefty, a dangerous spot.
Strike 3, Damon down looking. And that'll do it. No runs, no hits, no errors, 2 walks, and 2 left. Let's take it to the bottom of the Rover.
Land Rover drive of the game, top of the second inning. Ryan Rayburn. It's a nice extension on a curveball, his 7th home run of the year, and that is your Land Rover drive of the game.
And that's the ball game at this point, as the Yankees have been unable to get anybody across the plate. Ryan Perry's still in there, and he is going to face Brett Gardner, Derek Jeter, and Austin Kearns. Now, the Yankees have not been shut out in back-to-back games since May 12th and 13th of 1999.
Man, whoa. I probably struck out 3 or 4 times that game.
And that was at home against the Angels. Now, one more time, we talked about this earlier. We might as well tie it all together. The Yankees are 4-8 in their 12 previous starts against a pitcher they have not seen. And they had never seen Scherzer before, and the struggles continue.
Well, you could see why you would struggle against Scherzer. I mean, he had outstanding stuff today. Power fastball, nice changeup, good slider. Yesterday's more the game you scratch your head a little bit, Brian Billington.
John, I was wondering, when that game was over in 2 hours and 7 minutes, did you not even know what to do with your next hour and a half?
Oh, I knew exactly what to do. Rush to the bus, rush to the plane, try to get back home. But it was a strange game, Michael, because you just expected the Yankees to break through at some point, and that kid threw a lot of strikes.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you work with Michael and I, you'll never see a 2 hour, 7 minute game. Huh?
Finding that out tonight.
We average about 3:15, don't we?
Easy.
With a couple little rain delays in between.
Your last game here, we were here, what, 7 hours?
That's all.
You were in a good frame of mind, too.
Yeah.
The 2-2. We just checked it out, Paul. The 2 games of the Yankees were shut out in 99. You were combined 0 for 7.
That's a good one. Good series. Wow. I was probably in a great frame of mind that weekend. Huh?
Probably got a little Chuck Finley thrown in.
I was just going to say Finley was probably part of that. Maybe Langston. I don't know.
Ground ball up the middle. Grabbed there by Peralta for the first out. So 1 down. And Gardner's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. And that's going to bring up Derek Jeter. Derek is 1 for 3. Derek struck out in the first inning. One of the times the Yankees had a threat going first and second with 1 out in the third. He banged into a 5-5-3 double play, and then he singled to center field in the third. That 0 for 7, Paul, was against Omar Olivares and Chuck Finley.
Good sinker from Olivares, right?
Yeah, I probably hit a couple of those hard. Finley had no chance, so he was pretty good.
Ground ball to short. Peralta. And the Yankees just making no noise whatsoever with their bats. Count 0-2. Now it's 2 out, should I say. It seems like every time you look up, the count is 0-2.
You know, it's funny, you go through things like this as a team, and you just look down the bench and you just wonder who's going to start it or who's going to get the big hit, and there's no rhyme or reason why it happened.
There's Austin Kearns. He pinch hit for Swisher in the 6th inning. Check swing grounder back to the mound. Swisher left the game with a strained right forearm. And there's no further test that they're going to run on him at this point, so he is day-to-day.
If you figure this game in particular, I mean, you take a couple at bats that A-Rod would have missed, a couple at bats that Swisher would have missed. That's four quality at bats from 2 of your better hitters. So, that kind of complicated things tonight too.
The 1-1. Missed inside. 2-1. Top of the 9th inning at St. Pete. Tampa Bay leads 6-4 over the Texas Rangers. Driven the other way, high fly ball to right and out of play. The 2-2. 3-2.
It's like Perry's got a little cut on that fastball. Tries to throw it right at the hip of the right-handers. Bring it back to the inside corner. Austin Kearns, you have to stay on him just a little bit longer.
Hot shot, base hit through the left side.
We saw a lot of these fastballs with a little cut on it. Finally, Austin Kearns able to get one out over the plate. Keeps the bat in the strike zone long enough to drive it into left field.
Now, Jim Leylander knows his team has to win all the time. They are too far behind to let games like this get away. Looks like he's going to signal for his closer, Valverde, to get 4 outs here. Takes the ball from Perry. Teixeira is up as the tying run. And he's going to have to face the Tigers closer here in the 8th. Filthy stuff. And Mark Teixeira, who gets big hits, is up there as the tying run here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And he is 0 for 2 in his career against Valverde. Now, those are Valverde's numbers this season. But since July 5th, he's pitched to a 7.63 earned run average, 52 strikeouts in 50 1/3 innings. Now, most players get annoyed at Valverde's histrionics on the mound, but the best way to get him to stop is to have him give up the big hit.
Well, last warm-up pitch had a little Louis Tion in it. A total back turn.
Well, it's over in St. Pete. The Rays have beaten Texas 6-4. So the Yankees need to win this game to keep their lead in the East. Here is Teixeira.
Mark had a nice series in the field in Kansas City, but did not swing the bat all that well.
Count 1-0.
We talked about Zumaya, who was one of their bullpen aces. You know, I used to hope he got in the game to see if he could break 100. He'd throw 102 sometimes, and he's had all kind of arm problems too. I don't think the arm's made to throw 100 miles an hour, you know? And he just gets so much arm speed, it just can't take it.
1-0. Inside 2-0. Remember, on deck is Ramiro Pena. Valverde in Detroit earlier this year got a big save against the Yankees and did a lot of dancing after each strikeout that he had in the ninth inning, and did not sit well with the Yanks. The 2-0. But it's hard to complain when some of the young players do it. Jabba does it. And that's why Joe Girardi will never say anything on the record about a guy dancing on the mound or anything like that. Jabba does not do it as much as he used to. But Valverde's now working the count to 3-0 against Teixeira. Green light him. No, he takes the strike.
Threw a little split finger.
3-0 split finger, huh?
Ramiro Pena on deck. Try to get cute here in 3-1 and sneak a fastball by him. Nice little split for a strike.
Another split on 3-1.
You know, the way the Yankees are swinging the bats, you almost get the feeling like you're going to need a big home run to tie this game up. You don't see 3 or 4, solid hits. You see the grip there with that split finger. Looks like a fastball out of their hand. That's why it's such a tough pitch to recognize as a hitter.
Runner goes. 3-2. Grounded foul, another splitter. There's no way he would ever throw anything but a splitter right now, right?
Telling you, there are pitchers who try to get cute now and say, you know what, I've thrown 3 in a row, so I'm going to try and sneak a fastball by him.
That split finger can hang too, though. So every once in a while, I think that if you're going to throw that fastball, you're going to miss in. Anything out over the plate is a pitch Teixeira can hook out of this ballpark.
Runner goes. And he threw him the splitter again. So a walk. Now, Joe Girardi has a decision. Does he send up Timms to pinch hit for Pena? And that's what he's going to do. So Marcus Timms going to face his former teammates with the Detroit Tigers. Now, this is going to compromise their defense, but, Girardi's thinking, I got to tie this game. So there's Timms. Let's try to plan ahead here. I know that Teixeira played third base when he first came up. Cervelli maybe could play third, and they lose the DH and put Posada behind the plate.
Do a text poll right here. Who's going to play third base next inning?
Well, yeah, we've seen Marcus play third base this year. Made a nice play and a bad throw. But like you said, Joe Girardi will make that decision when he has to. He's got to try to get a big hit here.
So Timms, who can turn around a fastball, facing a guy who can throw one. Off speed for a strike.
Not going to do anything with that pitch. Down and away. Perfect location.
Crowd of 46,098 here at the stadium. Bottom of the 8th inning. They've been quiet for most of this game. So have the Yankees, the 0-1. Now, he must not feel very good about his fastball because he is really exclusively going to off speed and split. 7.63, as we mentioned, since July 5th. So over a month of bad pitching by Valverde. Timms 2 for 8 with 3 walks, pinch hitting this year. That was a fastball, but away. Timms couldn't touch that. Cano is on deck.
You pitched around Teixeira. You went to all split fingers, but, you can't pitch around Timms. He's a pinch hitter coming off the bench. You got Cano on deck. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you face Robbie Cano with bases loaded.
the 2-1. 2-2.
See Marcus hunting a fastball, and he gets a split finger fastball. Still pretty hard, Paul. 86 miles an hour, but I guess just enough off with a little dip.
The 2-2. Just missed with the fastball. So the Yankees catch a break here. Anything down the line will probably tie the game because both runners will be going on the 3-2 and 2 outs.
Well, Flash, if you're catching, you've missed with 2 fastballs. You've got to go back to that split finger.
Got to go with his best pitch.
And the runners go. 3-2 is grounded to short. Peralta to first, and that will do it. So Valverde flirts with disaster but gets out of it. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. He threw the splitter. Has held up. Yankees use their 4th pitcher, Jabba Chamberlain, slowly but surely getting the ERA down as he's pitching much, much better. He's going to face 3, 4, and 5 in the Tiger order. 53 strikeouts in 51 innings, 53 hits as well with 20 walks. Now, Francisco Cervelli, who's played 2 innings at third base this year, will take over at third. Jorge Posada will move behind the plate, and that means the Yankees will lose their DH. So the pitcher is now going to bat in the cleanup spot. So you could pencil Chamberlain into that cleanup spot. Tonight after the postgame, don't miss WB Mason presents the Joe Girardi Show as the skipper previews this series with the Tigers and the weekend series with the Mariners. And then Sunday at 5, it's an all-new episode as Joe answers your questions. It's the Joe Girardi Show tonight after the postgame and all-new Sunday at 5, only on Yes.
Couple injuries, a couple pinch hits.
Now, could that be David Wright's glove?
Wait a minute here. Maybe that's like he got one signed by him or something, and he just had to take it out to the field.
Well, there's no number 5 on the Yankees. We know that. So it's got to be David Wright of the Mets. Brennan Bosch swings and misses. Previous 5 games, the last 9, much better. So that's a 14-game span. Looped, and they're going to try out Cervelli right away. Makes the play in foul territory for the first out.
What is it about baseball? That ball will always find you if you're in a position you're not supposed to be in. Simple enough.
Another good athlete moves from behind the plate out to the field, no problem.
Joe Torre always used to like to say you can move in to out without a problem. It's hard to move from out to in. So a catcher could become an infielder, an infielder could become an outfielder, but the other way. As Cabrera fouls it off.
How comfortable do you think Cervelli is right now with Cabrera up at the plate?
Yeah,
just hit a rocket down there at you.
He's looking over the people in the bleachers, wondering how deep he can go with the base.
The 0-1. Nice breaking ball
there.
Keep moving. Another step back.
The 0-2. Bounce that one.
You wonder about Jabba. You saw the numbers at how much better he's been doing lately. Was it the wake-up call? Is it the work that Dave Island's been doing in between appearances in the bullpen? Whatever it is.
I think it's really just a challenge. I mean, Robertson started throwing the ball better, then you acquire Kerry Wood, and all of a sudden, you know, I think that you look in the mirror and realize that, you know, you've got competition now. And he's thrown the ball much better of late.
John, I was going through in my mind all your big league appearances in every game you played, and it stuck in my mind that in 05, you actually played 3 innings at first base. That's the only time you were not a catcher.
Remember that well. Went in Oakland for Jason Giambi, gave him a few innings off, was scared to death.
Really?
Yes.
Did you make a play?
I don't remember if I got a ground ball or not.
You really were scared. You don't remember the plays.
That one is lofted to right field and deep. Kearns back, leaps, see ya. Home run the other way off the bat of Cabrera, and it's 3-0 Tigers.
We talked about it. I mean, Cabrera's power the other way. I mean, you'd hate to think what he would do in this ballpark. He's in Detroit where you really had to crank him to get him out. But I mean, he didn't even hit this ball. This ball's off the end of the bat. It just shows you how strong he is.
Sure, if you're Jabba, you're going to look at the pitch. It's a slider down off the plate. It would have been a ball if he didn't swing at it.
Yeah, I think every once in a while, even though he's a big, strong guy that can pull the ball, I think that you have to pitch to the ballpark. You can't allow him to hit the ball to right center and to right field. He's just too strong.
Breaking ball is low. 28th home run, 96th run batted in. So insurance for Valverde and the Tigers in the bottom of the 9th. Wow, that really got Posada.
Seen a couple of these. Francisco Cervelli.
Ouch. Go ahead, Flash. Tell me it doesn't hurt.
That home run by Cabrera, the first run that job has allowed since July 25th. It was a breaking ball strike. Dangerous hitter in the Tiger lineup.
Definitely got to be one of the MVP candidates in the American League. The numbers he's put up offensively. Talk about spoiling the pitch. That pitch right there, I mean, he's Seen a couple curveballs down and in. That ball, fastball out and away. Just kind of wave at it, foul it off. See, no intention to really put it in play. Just kind of slap at the foul ball. It's about a foot from the catcher's glove when he hit that, huh?
Swing and a miss. Got him with the slider. 2 outs.
Good pitch there. That's that slider down and in. All lefties love the ball down and in, but this ball ends up a ball out of the zone. See, Jorge almost catches it in the dirt, and that's the pitch that lefties will wave at when you get them ahead of the count or behind in the count.
Here's Ryan Rayburn, 1 for 4. The 1 a 2-run home run. Big blow in the second. Fouls it away. Not much scoring, but a long game. A lot of foul balls. Game about 3.5 hours old. Count 1-1. Java trying to dry off his hand on a hot, humid night. There's that slider off the plate.
Java's gone through a good time, and you just hope as a manager that, even though he comes in, gives up a home run, that he goes right back, in a mode to throw another 8 or 9 good innings and without a run. And you see people go through ups and downs, and sometimes, one at bat can send them back the other way, and you just hope that that's not the case here, because he has made a lot of progress over his last 8 or 9 appearances.
Yeah, like I said, I think if he looks at the video, he's going to say, I'd throw that pitch again to him. Down, away, maybe off the plate. Throwing some good sliders here to Rayburn.
2-2. Swing and a miss. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, 1 run on Cabrera's home run the other way, and nobody left. Last legs coming up for the Yankees. Can they? Some ground to cover as they're down 3-0. Now Valverde, who's been battling an abdominal problem, got the final out of the 8th inning. Now he needs to get 3 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. 3-0 Tigers. All the runs on home runs. A 2-run shot by Rayburn, and then the solo shot by Cabrera. Defensive change for the Tigers. Rayburn moves from left to right, and Don Kelly comes in and plays left field. Cano, Posada, and Granderson. There's Kelly. Throws the fastball low.
So 3-run lead now for Valverde. We'll see if he's going to be a little prouder of his fastball. Saw a lot of split fingers last inning.
And the pitch. Count 2-0.
Verdi's got that kind of recoil where he doesn't follow through on his fastball, and he's got a live fastball, but you see he's almost falling back when he releases it.
And the count 3-0. So he walked to Shera in the 8th. Then ran the count deep against Timms. Ended up getting him the ground to short.
2-0 split finger for a ball. An interesting pitch choice.
If he can do his job, Max Scherzer picks up his 8th win against 9 losses. And he walked him on 4 pitches. Not what you want to do with a 3-run lead in the 9th. What's the worst thing that Cano could do? Make it 3-1?
Now, if you're Jorge Posada, you've seen 4 in a row out of the strike zone. Do you go up there and take a pitch, or you look for a first pitch fastball?
Absolutely. I mean, a home run, you can't tie the game up. You've got to try to, your job right here is to try to get on base. Pass it on to the guy that's a tying run, and then you can try to open things up.
Guy's been swinging the bat well tonight, too, Curtis Granderson.
He swings at the first pitch and fouls it away.
See why we're not playing any more flash. Wow.
I guess the good news for Jorge, he actually got a good pitch to hit, pretty much right down the middle.
Three 3-0 Tigers. There's a ground ball to first. They go to second one. No return throw.
Cabrera hit the deck over there. Tough play because he threw across the runner. Usually the first baseman will give himself an angle to throw the inside part of the base. He catches that ball kind of in the baseline. And it's a deck.
And he hits the deck because he doesn't want to get hit with the return throw. So they will not hold on Posada. Guarding against an extra base hit by Granderson. They'll keep close by Posada. Boy, Valverde takes a long time between pitches. Doesn't seem that anxious to throw it. There's a strike. Granderson, one of the few bright spots for the Yankees tonight. 2 for 2 with a walk. And the last time he was up, he doubled against the left-hander Phil Koch. And he gets another base hit. He's 3 for 3.
Tell you what, if you want to put a hitting tape together for Curtis Granderson for the whole year, you've probably seen 3 of his better swings tonight. Again, this is that split finger, kind of lays out over the plate, but he absolutely rips it to right field. First time up, hit the ball to left field. I mean, he's just, this is as good as he's been all year.
And that's going to bring up Francisco Cervelli. Cervelli's 0 for 3. Last time he was up, runners on second and third. Then they brought in Ryan Perry, and that was in the 7th inning, and he grounded out to short. Inge about even with the bag at third, close to the line. And the count 1-0.
Cervelli here, you want to get a good pitch, make sure it's up a little bit. You want to stay away from hitting that ground ball.
You see the delivery here. I mean, this is 96 miles an hour, but not, I mean, see everything kind of snapping back at the end of that pitch.
Count 2-0. Now you don't want to put Cervelli on. That would put the tying run on base. Brett Gardner's on deck. If you're thinking about a home run, Cervelli has not homered since June 24th of last year at Atlanta. That's 254 at-bats ago. That was a significant home run. Turned the Yankees season around. It was right after Joe Girardi had been thrown out of the game. And the Yankees had been sluggish leading up to that game. And they never looked back after that.
Yankees do, Mike?
I guess. The 2-0. 3-0.
Well, nobody's up in the pen, so Jim Leyland has figured out that this is his option.
Sometimes you just shake your head up here, though. 2-0 to a guy who doesn't have a home run, has been scuffling, and Valverde throws a split finger for a ball. I guess that's a pitch he's got the most confidence he can throw for a strike.
Boy, he really, really labors between pitches. Each pitch seemingly like an ordeal.
I'll tell you what, there's a time clock too, and they were lucky.
Must not be working.
It's must be in slow motion tonight.
There's a strike. Now does Cervelli take another pitch?
Absolutely. If he was swinging the bat well, I'd say no, be aggressive, but he's going through a little tough time.
1 for his last 13, 4 for his last 27. The 3-1. Well, we'll never know as he has walked. So Valverde went up and in, and now the tying runs are on base for the Yankees. So on a game and on a night where they've been unable to do really nothing offensively, Valverde has gift wrapped them a rally here in the 9th inning. And now Knapp, the pitching coach, will come out and try to calm down his closer. That's going to bring up Brett Gardner. July 3rd of this year against the Blue Jays. And Brett Gardner went yard, a grand slam. And that was off the difficult Ricky Romero. Well, Tickner breaks it up. Now, we told you that Valverde has been struggling since the beginning of July and that he's dealing with an abdominal problem. Posada's at third. Granderson is at second. And Cervelli is at first. Do the Yankees have a rally in their bones here? Valverde's only had one blown save this year. It came back on April 7th, and it was against the Kansas City Royals in KC. Gardner 0 for 2, a walk. Count 1-0, and no one is up in the Tiger bullpen.
Gardner has never faced Valverde, so there's no history.
see optimism in Joe Girardi's eyes, and Jim Leland doesn't know what to do on the other side. So
can't throw a strike. Count 2-0.
They're stirring out there now, but I don't know if they're going to have time.
The way Valverde walks off the mound, they'll have plenty of time.
That's right. Get two guys up.
Warm up tomorrow's starter. Verlander could get ready for tomorrow. Gardner is 4 for 9 this year with the bases loaded.
Joe Girardi, you start thinking, can we steal this game? I mean, as sluggish as we have been all night, we got a chance right here with one swing of the bat.
The 2-0. And it goes off the glove of Avila. And Posada made a smart move there. What does that run mean? He cannot get thrown out at home plate. And the count 3-0. Heads up base running by Granderson, not to go to third with his head down.
Valverde is officially all over the place right now. He's got no idea where the ball's going. And you're right, Michael. A smart play by Jorge Posada.
And now, Leland's bringing the trainer, so that will give you all the time you need to warm up if they say that Valverde is hurt.
And with his release, the way he was snapping, it looks like he could almost hurt his back.
Keep saying, I'm okay, I'm okay. I guess he's okay.
Misses by about 2 feet there, thrown about 95. Not a comfortable feeling for Avila behind the plate.
Well, you've heard of pitchers working in slow motion. He's working in yes-mo.
Nice, Michael. I was waiting for something like that.
He has really, really deliberated every single climb up the rubber. Just amazing how long he's taking between pitches. And it's certainly not paying off for him. So Gardner's going to be taking here on 3-0. Lays it right in there for a strike. Does he dare throw a splitter out of the zone?
You got any reads or something you can do between pitches? No.
Bases loaded. Yankees trail 3-0. Bottom of the ninth. And the 3-1. He walked him. He forces in a run. Now the Yankees have the winning run on base. Posada scores, and the Tiger lead is 3-1. Now, boy, does that home run by Cabrera loom large. And that's going to bring up Jeter, the captain, in a big spot. Yankees had gone 17 innings without a run. So they finally get one on a bases-loaded walk. Jeter 1 for 4 tonight. What's left of the crowd, most of them standing. 1-0.
When you think about this is a tough spot for Derek Jeter. He's a guy that's always aggressive when he walks up to the plate. You got a pitcher who's all over the place. If you're Derek, you just want to make sure that you got your mind right. Either I'm going to be aggressive or I'm going to be patient. Don't get caught in between.
You're exactly right. You got to be committed. I'm either taking or I'm going out 100% out to drive this ball to right center field.
The 1-0. 2-0. Now Jeter has never faced Valverde. Now he's taking on 2-0, right?
Absolutely.
How about, you sure of that?
I'm not 100% sure of that, just because of Derek's, his history. He loves to go up there and be aggressive.
Now remember, anything in the gap, the Yankees likely win the game. The runner at first base has tremendous speed. That's Brett Gardner.
Too many things can happen wrong if you swing the bat. You can hit the ball hard. You can hit a double play. You can hit it right at somebody. This guy right now has not shown that he can throw 3 consecutive strikes to anybody.
The 2-0. There's a strike through a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. The tying run is at second. That is Cervelli. Gardner is at first. Granderson at third. The 2-1. Now it's 2-2. Austin Kearns is on deck.
Yet he misses by about 2 feet. Supposed to be inside, ends up away.
Tigers lead. Bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. Yankees trying to come back. And the 2-2. Fouled away.
It was a 1 count that you thought he might go back to the split finger, and he stuck with the fastball. All of a sudden, you've had so many control problems this inning that, you've gone to the fastball. I don't know as a pitcher if you can go back to that split finger. 2-2.
Since the advent of the pies, Derek Jeter has never had a walk-off hit. Never been hit by a pie. The 2-2. Almost got hit by a pitch. And the count 3-2. Valverde is having a nightmarish inning. The Yankees have put the ball in play once. Hard. That was the base hit by Granderson. The other time they hit a ground ball to first. Otherwise, it's been 3 walks. This will be his 38th pitch. Let's see if they turn 2. There's 1. On the first. They got him, a double play. Gardner went in very hard at second base and really took out Guillen. It was a clean slide, but Guillen returned to throw to first, and the Yankees lose a heartbreaker 3-1 on the Derek Jeter 6-4-3 double play.
Well, you got to give Guillen some credit here. Brett Gardner goes in hard, and you're right, it's a clean slide late, but to get a strong throw off like that, Brett Gardner was all over him. An impressive turn by Guillen. Late slide.
And the only reason he got off a strong throw is he planted that front foot, and that's exactly where Gardner went in, probably turned his ankle on that. But he sacrificed the body to get the throw off and just got Jeter at first base as Bill Miller, the first base umpire, pumps him out. And you can see he pumps him out correctly as the Yankees lose the game on the Jeter 6-4-3 double play. And Valverde lets out all of that anxiety, not being able to throw a strike, and still picks up the save. A tough, tough loss for the Yankees. And stick around for the postgame show to find out who's today's Chevy player of the game. Well, the Tigers beat the Yankees 3-1. The Yankees had their opportunity here in the bottom of the ninth inning, but they couldn't finish it out. They avoid getting shut out for the second straight time, but they lose for the second straight time. We'll be